From the Everlight Solar Studio.
You love that name so much, you don't even go by it.
On 100.5 ESPN.
If you call me Mark, I like my name. I like my name a lot.
The ESPN Wisconsin app.
Wilde and Tausch.
And ESPN Madison on YouTube.
It's Wilde and Tausch, isn't it?
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It is the Tuesday edition. The Tausch summer sabbatical rolls on, and so does our cavalcade of outstanding Cousin Subs of the Day. Cousin Subs, we believe in better edition. The Nate Hobbs is what I imagine Jesse being like as a little boy growing up in Muskego. Ma and Pa Nelson tell him, "Don't do that, Jesse. Don't do that, Jesse." And then Jesse does it anyway. And then he gets put in a timeout, just like Nate Hobbs did yesterday.
I don't think you know me at all.
Edition. Oh, you always listened. You always did. Only child. You always did what mommy and daddy told you to do. You're right. You were perfect.
They don't call me the hall monitor for nothing.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm wrong, but that is what happened to Nate Hobbs. I can tell you that. Edition. The Elton Jenkins is back on the field, and he just wanted to spend more time with his family. That's all. That's all. That's what it says on Twitter, so that must have been it. Edition. And if you said, Jason, you can trade your life and live someone else's, who would you pick? There are honestly, not Matt Damon, not the president, not any of those things. There are two people that I would pick. One is Charles Woodson, because he's cooler than anybody I've ever met. The second one is our Cousin Sub of the Day edition of Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming live video, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and of course everything you need on the all-new, all-redesigned, all-free ESPN Wisconsin app, which you can find both in the Apple and Android app stores. I'm Jason Wilde in Green Bay. Practice number 6 on tap for the Packers in training camp. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios. And so is the Pro Football Hall of Famer, the Wisconsin Athletics Hall of Famer. What else am I missing? The College Football Hall of Famer, the America's Beef Growers Hall of Famer, the Bagel Hall of Famer. It's this guy right here. Here he is, right there, with a hockey stick. There he is, right there. And I can barely see him because he's in a very undersized shirt that is in camouflage. It is Joethomas. Joseph, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Already being critical of my outfit here. I see this is the workplace
Just
harassment
jealous.
that I've been trying to avoid all summer, but Tausch just has to go and take his long sabbatical right at the beginning of training camp, and so they called me out of the bullpen, and this is the warm reception I'm getting. Oh, man, great to see you. And I'm very sad that you're not in Madison, though, because Jesse promised the next time I'm on the show we were going to be able to meet and say hi in person and embrace and be able to share those stories face to face, maybe sign an autograph for you or a friend, possibly. But no, I just get to hear more stories about the book that I might be able to sign someday if you ever did come down to Madison here.
I have your address. I'll just mail it to you. And you can mail it to me back.
That's easy button.
It is. I will say this, and I meant this when I said it. I got to put little Joe, the hockey player, back on the shelf here in my office. I'll say this. You are, for a guy who has accomplished what you have, and I'm not here to blow sunshine up your camouflage shirt, but for a guy who's accomplished everything you have, you are as down-to-earth and normal of a guy. And I know Annie will back me up on this, but like the fact that just like the rest of us, you were walking around your house in your underwear when you were about to get the Hall of Fame call.
Yeah.
Like that's, you tell dad bad jokes, you're self-deprecating. You had times, even as one of the greatest football players in NFL history, where you had imposter syndrome. Like we just love you, man. And we love that you're helping us out when Tausch is gone. And you're one of those. Because then I'd be able to have the great family just like I do, and I'd be able to tell dad jokes just like I do, and I'd have more hair than you would have. But otherwise, I'd be built, right? It'd be great to be you. How are things? What have you been doing? Catch us up, because I think you maybe were on with Tausch one day when I took a rare day off. But other than that, the only time I've really gotten to talk to you was when Jesse was talking about how much he loves Gotham bagels, and I put the kibosh on that today for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. No, it's
Kind of rudely.
It was a little rude, but we've got a special surprise. It's not Gotham Bagels. Don't worry. I'm a good listener. But no, summer's been great. Anybody that's got 4 kids that are kind of in that middle school, grade school era, they realize like how busy these summers have really gotten when you're driving kids to dance and volleyball and lacrosse camp. And I dropped my son off at Badger basketball camp this morning. So they definitely stay busy, and they're not growing any moss this summer. So it's been super busy, but it's just fun. Like I never played lacrosse growing up, but being able to watch your kids do some of these sports that you really have no experience where they can kind of teach you is awesome, because it's role reversal. And for a dad, it's just really fun being able to sit back, enjoy, and allow the kids' passion for something to really ooze over onto you. So it's been a great summer, man.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, and I am getting a little bit melancholy because with our girls being a freshman and a sophomore, I know that my favorite job of all the things we get to do as dads is the drive to and from activities, because talking and catching up and laughing, and I know that those times are starting to run out. So that's great. And by the way, and they don't need advertising from me, but I do want to say this: the University of Wisconsin athletic program does a phenomenal job with its camps. Like Sydney went to the volleyball camp. She left a better player and had a blast and made new friends. And so that's why we do these camps. We want our kids to improve, obviously, but we want them to have fun in the summertime doing the stuff they love. And so it's great that you dropped off your son at Badger basketball camp. But they do. I cannot recommend it enough. It's been a great experience for our girls, and I'm looking forward to more and more before they maybe someday are Badgers. So, Joe, I do want to ask you one thing, though, to get on track of football, and that is this. You played in the league forever. You're one of the all-time greats. What's the proper way to practice? Because Nate Hobbs could use your help.
Well, whether you're going as fast and as hard as you can physically or you're not, the most important thing is that your brain is always working at game speed. And so I've talked to some of the guys about this recently, because towards the end of my career, I really didn't practice all that much because my knee was really bad and I had some other ailments that just didn't allow me to practice during training camp all the time or during the preseason. But I learned a lot of valuable lessons, because I think a lot of young guys, they see a walkthrough or like a practice where maybe you're not hitting as, oh, it's a day off. Good. I can relax. I don't have to worry about getting beat. But actually, those were the practices that were the most important to me because it allowed my brain to be at full speed and to my technique to be perfect. And I didn't have to worry about losing a rep, right? Because nobody wants to lose a rep when it's one-on-one pass brush and all the fans are out there, they're yelling and screaming and they're keeping track. The media, the guys like Jason Wilde are back there with their notepad writing down every time you won a rep or you lost a rep, right? So you obviously want to be at your best there. So winning is the priority in that situation. But when you do have an opportunity to practice without pads or to practice at walkthrough tempo, that's your opportunity to use your brain at game speed to hit perfect positioning. And the timing is going to be synchronized with everybody else because they're working at the same speed. And that's really when I would improve and ingrain those techniques and those processes that I go through every single rep in my muscle memory forever. And you get so many more reps because you're not getting as tired. But I know that you have to be completely locked in 100% mentally in those situations and give everything you have with that focus, or you're not going to get anything out of it. And so I think learning to practice is one of the hardest things to do as a professional, because you do have times when, hey, there's no pads, so we're going to hit, but we're not going to take guys to the ground. Okay, now we're walkthrough tempo. We don't even have helmets on. Now we got to be able to learn how to be good teammates and to be able to service each other to figure out, okay, now the offense is trying to get this done, so we need everybody in the right gap so we can get the footwork and get the eyes down. But you always should be out there practicing with a purpose, being extremely intentional about what you're trying to get done. And then you're going to be able to make the progress that you can in the era of not 2-a-days, in the era when you're not putting pads on all the time. You got to learn how to practice and you got to learn how to be a professional.
So the issue obviously yesterday is that Nate Hobbs, who you remember, Jesse, when I said that I watched some of his games because I wasn't familiar with him, and I said the thing that jumped out from watching him was that he was physical.
Oh, you watched 2 games and 2 drives in those 2 games that the highlights on NFL Plus gave you.
That's your
a great
Tausch.
Oh, was that Tausch? Yeah. You have to let us know who that was, by the way.
No,
but I loved it.
Not my best work, but I think we all got it.
Nailed it.
And Tausch was killing me for that, right? Turns out that my diagnosis was spot on, because not only was he physical in the games, but now he's over the line physical in practice. And Marshawn Lloyd leaves with a leg injury because he went low and tackled I understand they're in pads, but not supposed to do what he did. Matt LaFleur gave them a big spiel and a video before practice to emphasize how to go about practicing. I don't know what they do in Vegas. I guess what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, including in practice, where you just go full out all the time. Because this was an issue in the non-padded practices, and then an hour into the first practice in pads, Nate Hobbs hits a guy low, and Matt LaFleur boots him for several series. He got benched. He literally, and he said this, I got put in timeout. So, Joe, having played as long as you did, and as you pointed out, toward the end there, you were on the Chad Clifton big Lamborghini program, right?
Yeah,
to get you to game day, right? And you know, Tausch has some pretty lame nicknames that he handed out, but the big Lamborghini for Chad Clifton of you only drive him on Sundays and otherwise he sits in the garage was pretty darn good. But explain to people how you are supposed to practice from a physicality standpoint while also looking out for your teammates, because you're all on the same team. You know, it's fine if you're going to be super physical against the Lions on September 7th, but on July 28th, you're not supposed to be taking out your backup running back.
Yeah, we don't want to see that. And it's especially important to understand where guys are expecting to be hit. And so you have different tempos throughout practice. Even if you're in a training camp, full padded practice, the coach is going to talk about at the beginning of the drill, like, what's the tempo? Are we thud? Which basically just means we're not hitting anybody below the waist. We're just going to wrap up with our arms. We're going to try to get into good position when we're tackling. We're going to swarm to the football, but we're not taking anybody to the ground. Then you have a little bit more physical than thud, where, hey, we're not going to go low on our own teammates, obviously, but, hey, we're going to be hitting guys a little bit harder. And so everybody's ready for that, right? Because as a running back, you're going to be protecting yourself in certain situations and certain drills with your legs because you know guys are going to be coming for your legs. But if they're not supposed to be down there, that's not exactly what you're focusing on and your intentions are in that moment. And so it can be really dangerous. But from a coach's standpoint, it's difficult to walk that line because you do have to have that balance. When you got a guy like Nate Hobbs who is physical, who is aggressive, you don't want to take away his superpower, right? Because that's maybe what makes him who he is. But I think for the player, just reinforcing the understanding of, one, we can't be taking out our own teammates, especially when they're not expecting it. But two, like learning how to practice and be under control and have that controlled physicality and violence is part of becoming a professional and taking that next step in your performance, because it's more than just running around wildly throwing your body in certain places. Like there's a technique to everything you do, including tackling. And so you have to be under control and know where you're trying to hit. And once you get to that level, actually the game starts slowing down because you're not just going as fast as you can without thinking about it. You're actually thinking about every step you make, every little turn of your shoe and where you're trying to aim, where you're putting your helmet when you're trying to make a tackle, or where you're putting your nose and your hands when you're making a block. And it's focusing on those smaller details that allow you to get that game to really slow down. They talk about, Olympic archers. You always say, if you aim at a smaller spot, you're going to miss smaller. Whereas if you're just aiming at the giant target, you've got an opportunity to miss a lot bigger. And we don't give our brains enough credit for how minutiae, probably not a word, how minutiae you can aim and you can focus even when your body's moving at full speed. And that's a talent and a skill that you have to learn. And I think it was really good for Coach LaFleur to really reinforce that. Like, hey, we love physicality, but we can't take our own guys. And actually, you're going to be a better player if you're able to control your body better in each practice situation that we're in, so that when the game time comes and you are going full speed, you're not reckless and not injuring yourself or your teammates because you're not able to control yourself in those situations, those violent moments when you are coming in and trying to make a hit on a ball carrier.
Well, I got news for you. Minutiae on this show,
look it up,
is a great word.
All right, thank you. Perfect.
Because the guy that usually sits in your chair is making up words all the time. So it's perfect for us. I do want to get into that physicality thing a little bit more, though, because as much as Tausch teased me about pointing it out, I think there's probably an argument to be made that these guys didn't always have enough of that on defense, and they started to be more of a physical group last year. And so I want to get into that coming up before we talk to Evan Cohen. But before we can do that, and before we can get more stories from Joethomas and we can run off the list of all the different Hall of Fames he's been inducted into, we need to hear from a Packers Hall of Famer and a Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin Hall of Famer. And that, of course, is Mark Tauscher telling us from beyond vacation about Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. So after we hear from Tausch, we'll hear more from our cousin sub of the day, Pro Football Hall of Famer Joethomas. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella Experience. The Pella Experience Center lets you see, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of windows and door options from 7 different Pella lines, all side by side. Stop by soon, because if you order by July 31st, you can get 0 interest for up to 5 years. Certain restrictions do apply. Visit the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield or schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road, or visit PellaWI.com today.
Bringing summer gatherings to the next level is just another thing we do at Celebrations Entertainment. Hi, it's Jeffrey. With rental items like sound equipment, photo booths, and even yard games, you can make your event the party that everyone talks about. Any event like graduation parties, block parties, or even a backyard barbecue can be elevated with fun, interactive items to make everyone ask, hey, how'd you pull this off? Just tell them celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
The UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. People ask me, T, why did you join UW Credit Union? Well, is it to keep your banking local? Is it the member first service? Great perks like early payday? Absolutely. But honestly, between us, it's Bucky. I can't say no to that face. If you love Wisconsin like I do, you just can't pay with anything else. Fandom makes us do crazy things, but this just makes sense. Become a UW Credit Union member and get your Bucky card like me. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
Ben Brust here to tell you about why your next work van should be from Mercedes-Benz Sprinter at Zimbrick European. First off, we have versatility. The Sprinter vans offer 16 body types and thousands of ways to customize that space. Number 2, we have reliability. Sprinter's most powerful diesel engines last longer and require less maintenance, spend more time on the road and less time in those bays. Number 3, we have safety. Sprinter's safety technologies include curtain airbags all around, load adaptive electronic stability program, and crosswind and attention assist. Number 4, Van Care Mobile. Our maintenance team can come to you with routine service. Who wants to go in? Let them come to you. They work with multiple trucks on one visit. Use the Mercedes Me Connect. And last but not least, get your Zimbrick Sprinter at Zimbrick European at Rimrock Road and the Beltline, or go online at ZimbrickEuropean.com because your next Mercedes Sprinter van is waiting for you.
GRB Academy is baseball for the serious player. Over the past 15 years, GRB has been Wisconsin's top destination for player development and advancement, including over 468 college commitments and 27 MLB draft picks. Their facility in Windsor is the home of GRB Rays baseball and features over 52,000 square feet of elite baseball training. Tryouts for the 2026 summer season begin July 22nd. Find full training programs and register now at grbacademy.com.
Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. When you see Diamond Jim, you can count on him to be on your side. Selection beyond compare with on-site repair, so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Have you been waiting to buy your next home? Stop. Now is the time to get housed. What's up, Madison? It's Stacy from Bruner Realty. Nobody has a crystal ball to know what the future holds. The longer you wait to find your next home, the better the chance you'll be paying more for it than you would be today. Don't miss out on what could be the best opportunity to find your dream home. Contact our team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to help start your search. That's BrunerRealtyInc.com. Let's get housed.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Customizable just to you. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today.
Continuing with Joethomas as our cousin sub of the day, cousin subs, we believe in better. Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike scheduled to appear coming up next. So Joe, I had a good conversation with Nate Hobbs. It was a little weird. It was the first time I talked to him like outside of a group, one-on-one. So it's kind of like, hey, you got in a lot of trouble today. Hi, I'm Jason. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
But he, one of the things I said was, obviously you got in some trouble today, but when we get to September 7th, guys in this locker room are going to love this physicality, right? And he's like, yes, look, what I did today was bad. I feel horrible. It was horrible. But on September 7th, it's going to be real good. And he's right? I mean, that brings an attitude. That brings a brand of football. Like, there's value in that. Having played as long as you did you have guys that were kind of that guy who were so physical that they elevated and got other guys to play physical? I mean, it's mostly on the defensive side, but I'm sure you had, Batonio or some of these other guys that you played with that you didn't want to mess with them because they were bringing it in a big way.
Yeah, I think it's important to have one player on either side of the ball that kind of has that loose, deranged, unhinged mentality that when it's game day, you know that that's the dude that you want fighting in your corner in a dark alley. And clearly Nate Hobbs is that guy, and that's who you want to bring that energy, that physicality, because especially on defense, like, it's hard to go out there every single play on defense, run to the ball, be as physical at the point of attack as you possibly can, and then go ahead and smoke the guy on the other team who's got the football. And sometimes, on offense, it's a little bit more methodical. It's a little bit more rhythmic. And so it's much more about like your routine and your technique and your timing and your assignment. Whereas defense, like, you need that guy who's going to bring that energy when maybe the defense is a little bit down, because they ride the wave of emotion way more than we do on offense. Like, we try to eliminate emotion on offense, so it's not something that we play with. But on defense, they have to play with emotion on every play. And you need that spark. You need that guy that you can look to when maybe your defense isn't really playing at their best and you need a turnover, or you need something that kind of changes the mood on that side of the football. Maybe you gave up a couple big plays already, or you had your best defensive package called for the week and the offense just gutted you, right? And so you need that guy who will help you bounce back, who can be that spark on defense. And so that's why it's just such a delicate balance that a coach has to walk, to be able to not take that away from their guy, but help them understand how you have to be smart and you got to take your shots when it's legal, when it's available, and certainly not on your teammates, because it's just the same thing as like, hey, we just got a play made on us on defense, and their offensive lineman, their Joel Bitonio, he sprinted down and he peeled one of our guys off the pile. The ref didn't see it, but now I know I need to take it out on this guy, but if I do it right now, the ref's standing there and I'm going to get a 15-yard penalty. So it's learning that discipline and learning when and where to take those shots that can spark your defense, that it's all part of that maturation process. And Nate's a young guy, right? What is he, 26 right now? This is his fifth year, I think, or so in the league.
Year 5, yep.
So he's still learning. He's still learning what it means to be a professional, to give that team the spark that it needs. They brought you here to be, but also understanding, hey, there's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I'm sure they liked him was his physicality. Now, the other part of this is, and he, for all the criticism that Jair Alexander took during his time here, Nate Hobbs has missed a good chunk of time too because of the way he plays. And one of the things I asked him too was, is there any way to still be who you are, but just dial it back just a smidge, so you're protecting yourself? Because you don't help these guys if you're like, he broke his hand last year, right? Playing the way he plays. And he had a great line. He's like, look, if I do that and Derrick Henry comes around the corner and I am more interested in protecting myself than I am in tackling him, he's going to stiff arm my ass and he's going to go for 80 and I'm going to look like a bozo, which I love anybody that can use the term bozo.
I love it.
So we don't get bozo enough.
Yes.
And fans are going to think I'm soft. So I all I have is the name on the back of my jersey, and I have to stand for being the player that I am. So what I thought was interesting, and this is one of the reasons why I love what I get to do, is that, from the outside looking in, it's just two things. One, I think I saw on social media people saying, why is this guy getting criticized so much? We need guys that are physical. You're not wrong about that, but there's a way to do it in practice. It's like, Jesse, I told you this yesterday. It's like Zac Efron taught us in High School Musical. We're all in this together when it comes to practice. So you can't have your guys. I know you don't like Zac Efron, and I'm going to keep bringing him up now. That I know
what's wrong with Zac Efron? Well, wouldn't you be if you were that handsome and that famous? I mean, he's a great actor. I love him. Anyways, we digress.
So that's the problem with it. But the other part of this is, and look, I understand that when fans are looking at this from the outside, they're not standing in the locker room. That's my job, is to bring that to them, right? That's why I'm here. And it's a little more nuanced, a little, not minutiae, but almost more nuancy, because I got a really interesting insight into who this guy was during our conversation. Like, he told the story of being in 7th grade and playing football and being undersized, short and little. And he played this way when he was 13 years old. And there were people around him who said, hey, if this kid gets bigger, you better watch out. And that's exactly what happened, right? He went and played at Illinois, and now he's in the NFL. So there's more to it than that, but at the same time, you got to take care of your guys. And nothing that I'm saying excuses the fact that you just can't do that in a practice. And all these other guys understand the rules of engagement. So I'm curious when we get out there this morning if he alters the way he plays. So we will see if he does that.
Yeah, I think you said something that's interesting to me, and just reflecting on my own career, playing 10 and a half years, never missed a play. Obviously, there was injuries along the way, but one of the things I attributed to is at the moment of contact, whether it be a block or if I'm going downfield and trying to help my running back, push him, whatever, like I never blacked out and just turned myself into a human missile, right? Because everything you're trying to do still has a technique. I think back to Ray Lewis, right? He rarely ever missed a game. He was so physical, but he knew how to tackle. He knew at the point of attack not to just close your eyes and go as hard as you can and just be in there with reckless abandon, because a lot of times that's how you get hurt, because you're not seeing your teammate's helmet slip in there at the last second, so you don't know exactly which side to put your helmet on. You're not exactly clear where the ball is, so you're not sure if I should wrap his thigh, if I should wrap his ankle, if I should wrap him around his waist, and just being able to see those little things and allowing everything to slow down at the moment that you're making a tackle or at the moment a blocker is coming to you, I think is an important part of learning how to take that next step and be that Pro Bowl or be that All-Pro. And it's going to help you stay on the field because, as you mentioned, he missed time in each of his first 4 seasons because he does play with that physicality. But there's a way to be physical, to set the tone on defense, to come in and, knock people's jock straps off the way that, you used to back in the day in football. But you can't just go black and close your eyes and forget about what you're trying to do in that moment, because everything you do in life has a technique and everything you do on the football field has a technique. And I think that's an important message that Coach LaFleur wanted to send as well. It's not just about only taking care of your teammates, but we're trying to get something done at every moment of every play. And just because it's time to tackle doesn't mean we turn the brain off and just turn ourselves into a human missile and explode on our ball carrier, right? There's something that has to happen in that moment, and it should be focusing on that detail, and that's how the game slows down, and that's how you become a better player who now also can make big turnover plays and can knock the ball loose, which is one of the things that people have been critical with Nate Hobbs. Just hasn't generated a ton of turnovers, even though he does play fast and play physical, but seeing where that football is at that moment of truth and being able to knock it out, rip it out, the old peanut punch with Charles Tillman, like those are the things that separate the good players from the great players.
We're always smarter when we have Joethomas in. We also usually are more well-fed than we normally are. But we'll see if he's got anything up his sleeve for the team at the Everlight Solar Studios. We've got Evan Cohen coming up next from Unsportsmanlike. Before we get there, I want to remind you to tune in to the Behind the Bucks podcast on the Bucks Plus Audio Network, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Behind the Bucks brings you exclusive access and untold stories about the greatest stars and moments in Bucks history. Go behind the scenes of Giannis's Emmy-nominated documentary. Hear about the true origins of Bucks and Six culture and more. Find Behind the Bucks on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the new ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get your podcasts. Again, Behind the Bucks, presented by Gallagher. Joethomas is our cousin sub of the day. Evan Cohen is our guest next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Customizable just to you. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Bruss talking about our friends at Road America, America's national park of speed. Get out of your house this summer and go to Road America, located conveniently between Green Bay and Milwaukee and Elkhart Lake. Come see a race at the legendary 4-mile, 14-turn road circuit that has hosted some of the best races since 1955. Motul Sports Car Grand Prix featuring IMSA is up next on July 30th through the 1st of August. Camp on site all weekend and enjoy free admission for kids 16 and under with a paying adult at the gate. Come for the experience and stay for the race. Get your tickets at roadamerica.com.
Chevy trucks have you covered when the road takes you from smooth sailing to Chevy Colorado will eat up some of the toughest terrains with 5 available drive modes. And Silverado and Silverado HD have the muscle to take you out for some serious with multiple engine options and impressive towing. While Silverado EV is the perfect combo of performance and capability, making it a snap to hitch up this electric truck and hit the road. Wherever the road leads, Chevy trucks are right there with you. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
All day, every day, the Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you. 844-770-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more.
If you want a fresh twist on surf and turf, look no further than North and South Seafood and Smokehouse. Inspired by their time living in the Alaskan Gulf in southern Texas, owners Keith and Aaron brought together unique culinary backgrounds to create a truly authentic American restaurant here in Madison. After expanding to 2 more locations in DeForest and Verona, you can savor smoky, wood-fired barbecue and freshly prepared seafood from around the country. Explore their full menu and dining options at eatnorthandsouth.com. That's eatnorthandsouth.com.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
From the biggest stars to the greatest moments, Behind the Bucks is Bucks history like you've never heard it before. It's all on Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the new ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Hello, I'm John Hayes, the owner of Goodman's Jewelers. It's been my pleasure to serve this community from this incredible store for over 4 decades. We stand upon high standards and classic traditions, pillars like honesty and integrity. Stop into Goodman's Jewelers, the longest-standing full-service jewelry store in the heart of Madison at 220 State Street. Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison since 1933.
The best is at Goodman's.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
The Milwaukee Brewers, the Chicago Cubs.
And a fly ball left center field. This is well struck. This is gone! Andrew Vaughn!
Tonight on 100.5 ESPN.
You know what that music means? You see him not only on Unsportsmanlike, but he's been on just about every other show ESPN has as well. And he's on our show, and he's on video. We'll see who he brought along, because sometimes he does that as well. It is Evan Cohen on Wilde and Tausch. Nice sport coat. Wow, you look nice.
Yeah, I got a lot of praise on this. I don't know. I'm trying to up my game a little bit. I don't know that it's actually working, but I'm trying. And by trying to, I mean, if there is like a $30 or $40 sport coat on sale anywhere, I buy that. And that's about as far as I go, guys.
Before we get into, I don't know how you're going to handle today, because usually this segment is you and Tausch getting after each other. But with Joethomas in as our cousin sub of the day, I have a question for you, because I said this to start the show. I love my life. I am really lucky to live the life I have with the people that I have in it. I am extremely grateful. There are 2 people who I would live their life instead if given the opportunity. One is Charles Woodson, who's the coolest guy I've ever met. And Joethomas is the other one, because he's just a way, way cooler, fitter, more successful, wealthier version of me. He tells dumb dad jokes. He loves being a dad. He's everything that I I'm not, and yet am, if that makes sense. Who, if you could be anyone else, who would you want to be?
Okay, first of all, Jason, I think Joe is a cooler, better looking, fitter version of Tausch is really what he actually is. I mean, if we're really going to be real about this, like, wouldn't the better comp, like you and I, Jason, you and I would be the comp to each other. Like, we're both like dorky, loser media people that are married with 2 kids. Like, that's kind of what, and both went to Wisconsin and both kind of tried to do this our whole lives, right? Like, that's us. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Joe and Tausch grew up in Wisconsin, played in essence the same-ish position, and oh, by the way, one of them is a Hall of Famer, and the other has to deal with the 2 of us every day. I mean, so if you're really going to be real about this, what Joethomas should just be Better Tausch. He should just be named Better Tausch.
Wow.
But to answer the question, and the thing, by the way, the thing that I admired about Joe and getting to know Joe slightly over the years is 2 things: honesty and never getting too high and never getting too low. I remember a conversation I had with Joe that'll stay private-ish, where he said to me basically, well, I'll make it public in this regard. It doesn't make sense for you guys to come after me to do this every day, and here's why. And it wasn't about us not wanting him or him not wanting us. He gave the greatest reasons, and I'm just like, I remember calling Tausch or you or Craig or anybody and be like, Joe kind of talked us out of the idea of going after him every day because he's the greatest guy ever, and he's so honest. And I have such envy for people like that. Like, I have tremendous admiration for Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr has gone through horrible things in his life that people probably don't realize, and the guy is never too high, never too low, and just wins at the highest of level. So people that are unaffected by serious things, people that are unaffected by non-serious things are the people that I want to be like when I grow up. Does that make sense?
It
like,
does.
what
Joe
bothers
Thomas.
you, Joe? Like, what bothers you that would be a complete non-consequence in life?
It's funny you say that, because the only thing that really bothers me, my real pet peeve, is when people think something's a really big deal when it's not, or when they're wrong about getting mad. Like, they cut me off on the highway and now they're mad. I'm like, you can't be mad. I'm the one that's supposed to be mad. Relax. Or at home.
So you're mad about them being mad about you not being mad.
I'm like, this is not a big deal. Relax. Haven't you been in the field 4th down? It's the 3rd quarter. You need a touchdown. It's 3rd and 10. You're on the 37-yard line. That's pressure. That's a serious situation that we should stress out about. But this is not. Relax.
So there's nothing, Joe, there's nothing that is completely just meaningless that is more meaningful to you than, like, playing in the NFL or any, like, something that, like, oh, God, if I'm not good at this, if I don't do this well, it's going to drive me nuts. Not as serious. I don't mean parenting.
Yeah, I think the big thing is when Annie comes over to my side of the sink and uses my toothpaste and then leaves the cap off. Because I'm very specific about putting it in this exact spot, and I put the cap on because I don't want my toothpaste to dry out. And she comes over, she uses it all willy-nilly. She's got her own toothpaste, and she leaves the cap off, and then she leaves it over there. It's like that type of thing is what it gets at me, but I would never say anything because I'm a great husband. Let's be honest, I'm going to keep that one to myself, but every time it happens, it's like one little paper cut to my soul. I'm like, oh, not again. More toothpaste.
You know, while we're discussing household stuff, do you guys, I've always found this weird. I don't like, I think that 2 different people, one puts the dishes in the dishwasher and the other takes it out. I'm good at putting the dishes in the dishwasher. I'm terrible at taking them out. How about that? Do you guys have that in your house, or does the same person put them in and take them out?
Why are you bad at taking them out? You don't know where to put them once you've removed them? Is that it?
Good follow-up. The journalist that is Jason Wilde, sports writer of the year in Wisconsin.
Took the bait.
Here's why. I don't like spending the time to dry them off. I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to put it, like, why do I have to dry it? Like, what am I not going to use a plate if it has water on it? So I just put them back, and then like my wife will grab them, and then like the plates will be soaking wet because I won't dry them.
Wait, are you telling me that you don't have a dishwasher that dries your dishes?
Yeah.
Let me introduce you to my friends over here at the local appliance store. Basically, every dishwasher in there dries them for you. So there's a little tip to
I
keep your
understand,
marriage
but
alive.
there's sometimes you've never had like a wet spot on a dish. Ever?
Maybe.
Rarely.
I can't remember off the top of my
That's
head.
just, you know what we learned, ladies and gentlemen? Let me announce something.
This is my bougie
Joe Thomas
life.
has never done the dishes. Joe Thomas has never done the dishes.
False. Blasphemy. Erroneous. No, I actually enjoy the process of putting the dishes in an organized manner, getting them washed, because then when I can put them away, it's like the fastest, most amazing thing. All the plates, right there. All the forks, they're in their spot. Just grab them right there. And it's just such a great feeling of satisfaction and completion, you know? Like, I hate making my bed. If I never had to make my bed a day in my life, I would be much happier because of it, because it's so frustrating. The last thing I want to do when I'm getting ready to get into bed is take all the covers off and put the pillows exactly where my old hips and back need to be. But like when it's all perfect, I just like hop into bed, like the clothes fall on the ground, I'm like, whoop. So the one thing I do like to do in the morning, though, is I do like to take the dishes out of the dishwasher as I'm making the coffee. It's just like that one thing, you know, there's some book about like you should always make your bed. Well, I think that's hogwash. But what you should do is complete something that you know you can do in the morning. And for me, it's like taking those dishes out and putting them away. I'm like, it's a great day. Time for coffee and maybe a nap.
Is this ruining
Well said, better Ted.
Is this well, I'm glad you said it that way, Evan. Is this ruining our theory slightly? There's no way Tausch is filling the dishwasher at home in such a precise manner that then it makes it easier to empty it. So we have found a difference between the two.
Well, Tausch is also, I know Joe wouldn't do this. I sent Tausch an email the other day, I think it was yesterday, with like a bunch of things, and I know he's on vacation. What a surprise. It's a day that ends in Y. But I sent Tausch an email with like 3 questions, and he wrote back, looks great. I said, thanks. Can you answer the questions? Like, thank you for like, and it's not work stuff. It's personal stuff for the two of us have plans to do something, and I had a couple of questions, and it just looks great. Thanks, Tausch. Real helpful.
Oh, man. He is made for AI and ChatGPT. Do you think he can just set up some program that just automatically respond to Evan with something that'll keep him off my back for another day?
Yes, that's exactly.
Sounds good.
Well
Great.
said. Well said.
The thumbs up. 3 questions. Great. Thumbs
So I'm curious, given the and obviously, Evan, you're at the top of the food chain with this job. You do a great job, and I'm not just saying that; it's absolutely true. On Sportsmanlike, but have you two worked together a lot, or are you just adept with creating chemistry with your co-hosts? Like, I like to think that when we go through the Tausch sabbatical, with Joe,
are you saying me and no, Joe and I have never done a show together. We've done guest hits, obviously, many of times. He came on. He was unbelievably kind enough to come on with us when I was on Sirius and now on ESPN as well. The most memorable moment when we, in our first few months on ESPN, on national TV, he showed us his toenails, which was a great moment. But no, like Joe and I have spoken on the phone a few times and met at a few events, but no, we've never, to my knowledge, I don't think we've ever done a show co-hosting together.
No, I don't think so. But I think we've just always got along because of the Wisconsin connection, obviously, but also because it's easy for us to commiserate about working with Tausch and all the funny dealings that we have. The Christmas card one, that was so great. I just love all those little family controversies, and any opportunity to like dump on Tausch a little bit, I'm going to take it. And he's usually the number one member. I mean, here you go. You heard it at the beginning of the show here.
Yeah, he probably doesn't like Cal Raleigh of the Mariners, whose nickname is the Big Dumper. I mean, it's really.
So wait, aren't you guys both on the same page on the Christmas cards? Am I misremembering that? You're both anti-Christmas cards?
I gotta be honest. So I feel like everyone in text change, friends groups, work associate groups, if you've had a long-standing argument, at some point you forget what side you're on, right? It's the beauty of stupidity. Honestly, it's like you don't forget what side you're on in politics. Not that I'm ever trying to go there. You don't forget what side you're on with like LeBron versus Jordan. And Ryan Russillo the Ringer had a great line recently where he's like, no one's ever changed their mind on LeBron versus Jordan. I think we talked about this, Jason. Like more people change their mind politically. Yeah. So this started where I went on a rant that got some play, I guess, about how I think the Christmas card concept, sending your family to other people, is dumb. Because in essence, what you're looking for is someone to compliment your family and just simply say, wow, Joe, your family looks great. And like, then I feel weird. Then I'm like, okay, so now I have to throw out Joe and his wife and his kids. I have to throw them in the garbage because what am I going to keep them there for however long? So my whole thing is don't send the Christmas card because anyone you would send the Christmas card to, theoretically, you should be in enough contact with on a regular basis to actually just have that relationship. Tausch had a major problem with that. I don't actually remember what side of the argument Joe was on.
It was a strong argument, let me tell you. Very memorable.
So to get to football briefly while we have you, you are obviously a Bill Belichick disciple. You love
I don't know if we could say disciple considering I never worked for him. I would say stan, as in I'm like pathetic, and I believe everything he does from a football coaching perspective seems to be right.
So Joe and I spent the first portion of the show talking about Nate Hobbs getting booted out of practice for several series for hitting a guy yesterday during practice. He had already been warned during the non-padded practices. Matt LaFleur did a big spiel before practice about taking care of each other and how to practice and all this other stuff. And he does it again. Now, look, I understand. I don't think it was malicious. I believe him when he says that. But how do you think Belichick would have dealt with this? Because I thought Matt LaFleur, the fact that he booted him, to me, says something about Matt LaFleur because I didn't know if he had that in him, frankly.
So I actually have an answer on this and I believe it's a former Joethomas teammate, that proves how empty threats are terrible. Real threats can be productive. During the time with New England, Belichick, I believe at 4 different times, had Jamie Collins, a linebacker, on his team. And Jamie Collins at times, not like legal stuff, would like slack off, let's say, wouldn't work as hard or do this, but he was extremely talented. And I believe that there were constant examples of internal discipline that would hopefully get him better. Well, if you go to the North Carolina website and you look at their assistant coaches, their inside linebackers coach is Jamie Collins, okay? So I don't know enough about the Nate Hobbs situation to comment specifically on that. I do know that in kind of consuming a lot of Belichick and Saban, discipline has to be done for a change by the person. It can't be for the sake of, I'm going to suspend Jason Wilde, but if Jason Wilde doesn't get better as a result of the suspension becomes irrelevant, right? I'm sure Joe could speak on this way better than I can. If a player is disciplined, the goal should be to get that player better, not to just get someone in trouble. And my guess is Matt LaFleur is doing that because he feels like the player you're mentioning, Nate Hobbs, has an ability to get better and learn from this and thus help the 53-man roster.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right in that thinking, Joe, or no?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I played for 2 Belichick disciples, actually, not just Belichick stands. Romeo Crennel, my first 2 years, who was his defensive coordinator, and then worked together with him under Bill Parcells with the Giants, and then, of course, Eric Mangini for a couple years. And, hey, if it was thud or if we weren't tackling to the ground or we weren't going low and somebody did it, it was like, hey, I don't really care what the rule was that you broke. We're trying to put our culture and our stamp on this team, and that rules are important or we wouldn't have them. And so every rule, there was no warnings. It was not like, hey, you better clean up your room or else. It was like, hey, if you go low on a player in practice, I'm going to kick you out. If you fight, I'm going to kick you out. Like the Belichick tree of all the guys I had hated fighting because they thought it was a huge waste of time, which a lot of times, to be honest, when it's a pretty tough second day of practice, it's hot, it's August, and you're like, hey, all we got to do is get in a fight, and then we don't have to practice. They're going to cancel practice. This is amazing. Let's go. All right. Hey, Atuba Rubin, just let's get in a fight after this play. We're cool and everything, but like, let's go at it a little bit. You get in a fight, coaches break it up. Break it up. You act like you're all pissed off. And then, that's it. We can't get anything done out of here. Practice is canceled. Hit the showers. You're like, yes, it worked. So the Belichicks, they were a little smarter.
Wait, is that a
coaches.
Hypothetical or is that a practical?
Did you? Oh, yeah. Hey, you watch these joint practices. If the penalty in joint practice is that we can't practice together anymore because we're getting in fights, you know how many fights are going to break out in that practice? There's going to be nothing but fights. But if the penalty is, hey, you got to play more in the preseason game, there won't be any fights. I can guarantee that. So, but when I was with Eric Mangini, just to prove the point of like, hey, rules are rules, and we're going to enforce the rules, and it doesn't matter who you are. Braylon Edwards was our starting receiver, and he grabbed the water from the hotel when we were on the road in the preseason, and then just forgot to pay his incidental fee at the end or whatever. And Eric Mangini fined him $1,701 for not paying his like $3 water tab at the end of the hotel stay because he was like, hey, it's a team rule. You take care of your incidentals. If you don't do it, you get fined. This is the way it is. And it's just bringing that culture and enforcing those rules uniformly without any warnings. This is just who we're going to be, because if I'm up there and I say, hey, it's 3rd and 5 and I want you in a 5-yard split, I don't want you in a 5.5 or a 6. Like, what we say matters, and you need to listen to what we say, and if you can't do it, we'll find somebody else.
That's the most expensive bottle of water ever.
Yeah, very much. Even worse than Vegas.
I'm fascinated by this. The $1,700 fine. Did it work relative to Braylon Edwards understanding, okay, if I'm going to be here, these are the rules that I have to, I don't want to say changed away, because as you said, it's a total accident in that. But did you sense a difference was made as a result of that?
Absolutely. I think what it did was it just created that culture of like, hey, mistakes are not acceptable. Like, everything I tell you is important, not one thing more important than the other. And it doesn't matter if it's paying your incidentals at the end of the hotel stay, or if it's what your split's supposed to be in this route concept, or what the snap count is. Like, everything is important. Everything we do and we say is important. You have to listen. You have to take notes. You have to lock in. And I think the other important part that we didn't quite have, though, is like, when you're a coach and you have that hard line about everything you do, and it worked really well for Belichick because he had Brady, he had a great defense, he had a lot of great players. So guys start falling in line, and they're willing to buy in for a time because they see that, hey, if we all do this together, all of a sudden you see those results. But if you're not getting those results and you're not getting those wins, it's those things that the players point to, that this coach stinks. We need to get him out of here. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He fined me $1,700 and won for not paying my incidental on accident. Like, they don't understand us as players, and then it becomes a players versus coaches thing, which can be more destructive in the first place if you're not just enforcing the rules that you have. So it's really important to be able to have that follow through of having that success. So people are saying, you know what, this is a sacrifice. I don't love living under this dictatorship, but you know what? It's working pretty good. So we're going to just keep doing this thing. We're going to keep listening to this coaching staff, because in the end, we're all here to win. And that's really the only thing that matters.
And Joe, and that is what, when I sit next to Chris Canty every single day, he always brings, because he played for Parcells, he played for, won a Super Bowl with Coughlin. He always says the job of the great coach, and I'm paraphrasing, is to get grown men to do things they don't want to do for the betterment of themselves and the team. Because I'm sure that, like, paying $1,701 for a bottle of water is not something that Braylon Edwards wants to do. But if the mindset changes of, these 10 things are non-negotiable, I have to be perfect on those 10. And then the quarterback, as you said with Brady, starts to believe, like in the case of Nate Hobbs, if Jordan Love is enforcing these penalties, then it's you guys holding each other accountable, which is the best case scenario, I would assume.
Absolutely. You have your coaches, they kind of dictate, hey, this is our general culture, but then it's up to the leaders in the locker room to be able to enforce it, because there's only so many times your coach can fine you or yell at you before you just tune them out. But if when the coach yells at you, now you're getting your booty burned even worse by your quarterback and maybe one of your stars on the offensive line and one of the receivers, one of the guys in your own defensive meeting room, like all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, this is the way it's going to be. And you're like, I'm going to fall in line, right? And that's what makes a great team. That's what makes great culture, is because the coach puts it from top down, and then the players believe in it, and the leaders enforce it and hold everybody accountable.
All right, last thing before we let Evan go, because I'm glad we've got our Belichick Stan and a guy who played for two of his coaches. Why, other than Vrabel, I think, have all of Bill Belichick's former assistants who went on to be head coaches not had success? What's it, Joe?
In the pros.
Right.
That's
very fair.
No, that's key.
No, Bill O'Brien had success in the college game.
Oh, I would say Nick Saban's been pretty successful.
So I've heard that about him.
I would tell you. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. No, but that part is forgotten, honestly, Jason, because he ran his pro team like a college program. Everyone is replaceable. It's part of a system. It's part of a culture. All the stuff that Joe just mentioned, and he's coaching the coaches to be great under his leadership with 12 at quarterback. And when you leave and you try to be him without 12 at quarterback, that's not a formula. But I've always said, well, why don't more college programs hire some of his assistants, because he teaches them how to run a college program. Now, we're going to see if I'm right about this, because he's now coaching a college program. Mm-hmm. But from Bill O'Brien to Kirk Ferentz to Pat Hill to obviously Nick Saban, there's been a lot of collegiate success with guys that have worked for him.
Joe?
Well, look at Nick Saban. The reason I think he didn't have success in the pro game, and I think he even mentioned it, was, hey, in college I can recruit. I can make a huge difference by recruiting better players. If somebody at quarterback or a different position is not doing what I want, you know what? We got 3 more 5-star recruits that are right behind him, and it's easy to get guys motivated. In the NFL, you don't have that benefit. You got a salary cap. You got a lot more stipulations. And, hey, if Brady's not doing what we want, it's not like you can just go get a different quarterback. Or if your starting receiver is doing something that you don't like your words become a little bit more hollow when they know that their backup ain't going to do the job that they need to get done to win the game. So I think it would be interesting to see. It will be, I guess, with Belichick now in the college game, where it's a little bit more like the NFL, where the recruiting is a little bit more challenging because you can't just collect all of the top talent anymore, because the NIL and the transfer portal, you get a lot more distribution of talent. So it'll be interesting. But I think one of the other problems that I saw, because I played for 2 different Belichick disciples, is that they a lot of times didn't have experience before they came in with Bill, and Bill would bring him in as a young kid, as an intern, and they learned everything about how he does things. They learned to see the game through his eyes, and then you're just never good as your mentor if all you do is learn to do what he does, and you've never stepped out on your own and see that, you know, you can skin a cat a different way and it works. Like, there's a lot of ways to coach and be successful in sports and in the NFL. There's not just the Belichick way. He found a great way, and it works really well for him with his personality and his situation, the best ever. However, that's not always the answer to every single test that you find. And so sometimes you have to do things and you have to lean back on experiences that a lot of those Belichick guys never had, because they never worked for anybody else. So they never saw that there's other ways to do things, and they never became their own person at coach.
Evan, we need to let you and your sport coat go. Thanks
See
for your
guys.
time, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That is
Thank
Evan
you.
Cohen. You can see him and hear him on Unsportsmanlike every day across ESPN Wisconsin, of course, on ESPN as well. We'll have more with Joethomas, our cousin sub of the day for Tausch. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
First of all, I love bringing this to the public.
The Rich Eisen Show.
NFC North, top to bottom. You could say this is the best this division has ever been.
Coming September 2nd on ESPN Radio, ESPN Plus, and on Disney Plus.
Get ready to unleash the dragon at Hard Rock Casino Rockford. Introducing the region's very first $1 million Dragon Link slot game. Feel the thrill, chase the excitement, and win big. With jackpots soaring to $1 million, your chance to hit it big is here. Come experience the ultimate gaming adventure. Visit Hard Rock Casino Rockford today and play the $1 million Dragon Link slot game. Your legendary win awaits. Hard Rock Casino Rockford. Let's hard rock. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to BadgerlandChevy.com. A standout message. Wisconsin football getting a blast from the past with J.J. Watt visiting practice. The Badger legend speaking to the locker room during his visit, hyping up this year's squad. Linebacker Daryl Peterson taking the message to heart, motivated to uphold Wisconsin's legacy.
When you think of this place, you think physicality, running the ball, stopping the run. Like that's one of the big things he told us. I think that was one of the things that stuck to me. Like he was like, we were playing guys like we might have lost, but they knew they played us afterwards. That was one of the things that stuck with me, and that's my challenge to our defense now. Let's get these guys leaving out here in body bag.
Wisconsin taking off for Platteville for the first 2 weeks of fall camp.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella experience. Get 0% interest for up to 5 years if you order by July 31st at PellaWI.com.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
When you've been injured, you need a winning team on your side. Gruber Law Offices will fight for the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Hey, this is Jeff Levering with the Brewers Radio Network, and I've got a question for you. Is your home ready to shine this season? Whether it's roofing, siding, or windows, Ridgetop Exteriors is the name you can trust. For over 20 years, Ridgetop Exteriors has been Wisconsin's favorite for roofing, and they bring that same expertise to siding and windows. Imagine vibrant, low-maintenance siding and energy-efficient windows that brighten your home while cutting energy costs. Ridgetop Exteriors holds all expert-level installation credentials with the leading manufacturers, including Pella, James Hardy Fiber Cement Siding, and LP SmartSide Engineered Wood Siding. With thousands of 5-star reviews and a commitment to excellence, they're the clear choice for home improvement needs. Plus, consultations and estimates are always free, so there's no reason to wait. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today or visit ridgetopexteriors.com to schedule your free consultation. Ridgetop Exteriors, putting customers first every time.
Ridgetop Exteriors is the place for you.
We ask and you answer. Tune in to Jim, Matt, and Molly every weekday 4 to 6 and follow at Jim, Matt, Molly on X to vote in daily poll questions presented by Siding Unlimited, your local window installation pros.
After a storm, even seemingly small damage can lead to major problems. If your roof or siding took a hit with this recent storm, your insurance may cover the damage, but the process is still a nightmare. Badgerland Exteriors makes it seamless. They'll guide you through every step and get your family's home back in tip-top shape just as fast as that storm ripped through.
Contracting made easy is more than a tagline. It's how we run our family business. Visit BadgerlandExteriors.com to get started on your next project. That's BadgerlandExteriors.com.
Hey, it's Riley Yauk. Stay in the know on area high school sports and follow ESPN Madison on social media for Prep Mania on Deck, each week's preview for the top games and events. Prep Mania on Deck is brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of high school sports and local communities.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
I say go, baby, go, go, go.
Thanks to Evan Cohen. Always great to catch up with him. That was really fun. And both Matt LePay and I enjoyed the roast of Mark Tauscher that we were able to engage in, too. Now, Joe, I was half kidding yesterday when I texted you and Jesse and said, I don't want you bringing Gotham Bagels because I'm not there. We were in Madison for a couple days. I didn't connect with you or make it to Gotham Bagels. But if you'd have brought Gotham Bagels, I'd have been fine. I'd have been jealous.
You said you were going to boycott the show. It didn't sound like half kidding to me. It sounded like a threat.
Jesse, if I'm threatening to boycott the show, do you think that's a serious threat?
I've never heard you threaten to boycott the show before.
Is he a Belichick disciple? Then we would know that it's got some teeth behind it. But maybe it's not.
Empty threats.
Maybe there's a lot of empty threats here. I don't know.
I specialize in empty threats. Yes, indeed. It's a key tenet to my parenting technique. But I'm told that you did bring some goodies into the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios. Is this true?
Yeah, I'm always getting scolded for bringing Mission Barbecue, and I brought some Hall of Fame beef sticks last time, some Gotham bagels several times, and, Jason never seems to make his way down to Madison, so he's starting to get jealous, feeling bad, so I had his big Gotham orders ready, but unfortunately I canceled it because I didn't want to make Jason feel sad again, so instead I just brought in some 100% Japanese Wagyu beef raised on my Six Springs farm down the road in Madison, and now it's probably a good time to have a little bite so that at least Jason can enjoy the flavor, the buttery texture, the tenderness, watching us enjoy this amazing beef right through his live stream. So let me give Jesse a little bit real quick here, and I'll be right back.
Ooh, he's coming to deliver.
Wait a minute. So is there a grill in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios? The heck's in the words of Vince Lombardi, what the hell's going on out here?
Look at this.
Oh, let's try a piece. And then we can just explain to our guy, Jason.
Melt in your mouth.
Oh, my God.
If that's not the best piece of beef we've ever had. Look at the tenderness. Oh, it melts in your mouth.
It's perfect.
You wouldn't like this.
It's terrible.
I don't think you
way awful. You're the worst.
He just went into the production room with Wagyu beef.
He dangled his beef in front of our webcam.
I can get you in a lot of trouble in some places.
It's
all right,
so good. It's so good, Jason.
Cancel the segment. We're just going to eat steak the rest of the way here. That was Hall of Fame beef Wagyu ribeye. And then I got a strip underneath. So I needed to take care of my guy, Jesse, right here. He looked hungry when we walked in this morning. Oh, my gosh. That is so good.
So
Nothing
Joe,
but salt on there. Oh.
Tell us, this is a great opportunity for an infomercial for your beef production. Tell us a little more about that aspect, because you have, after your career ended, you have diversified your portfolio. You've done a lot of cool stuff as a businessman, but fill people in a little bit on Hall of Fame beef.
So 2012, bought a farm in Boscobel, Wisconsin. Always wanted a little place to go take the kids, go hunting, go fishing, be a country boy, because even though I grew up in Brookfield and I saw farms, I didn't grow up on a farm, but I did always dream of maybe owning a farm someday, being able to get out in the country and, live that country boy lifestyle, which is sort of what was always in my heart. But then it wasn't until I retired that the kids said, "Hey, Dad, it'd be awesome now that you got all this time on your hands because you're not playing in the NFL and you're retired. Why don't we get some cows for pets? That would be awesome." Oh, boy. I was like, oh, boy, do you guys know how much work livestock are? Like, I'm not set up for this at all. But then I was like, you know what? I really like to eat. And pretty much all of the things that I've done since I retired has been around athletics, workouts, sports advantage, or food. Gotham bagels, Mission Barbecue, all Cleveland coffee. So I'm like, well, at least it fits with me being a guy that always overate for a living. That's basically what kept me in the NFL. And I love beef. So I'm looking for something to kind of pour my energy and my passion and my attention to detail into. So, hey, let's see if I can raise the best beef on planet Earth. And so we started in 2018 and then started raising some steers and gave it to family friends. And they thought it was amazing. But everybody's biased. It's like when you make your own dinner, you're going to think that that's the greatest meal you've ever had, even if you burn the lasagna or do whatever. It doesn't matter. If you made it, you're going to love it. Same thing with your family. If you raised it in your garden, they're going to go, oh, this is so good. So gave it to my buddy who's a chef, James Beard Award finalist for Best Chef in the Midwest, Chef Dan Bonanno, Pig in a Fur Coat, right down the street from us. So amazing spot. Next time you get to Madison, you got to check out his restaurant. It's incredible. But gave it to him because I'm like, hey, just give me an honest opinion because I'm thinking about selling this to the public. This is, to me, too good to just keep to myself. We really hit something. We're raising these animals along the banks of the Blue River, amazing lush pastures in the Driftless area, which has an unbelievable amount of soil fertility. The grass they're eating, it just gives them this incredibly buttery, marbled texture. And so I gave it to him, and he was like, wow, that's better than the stuff that I can buy. And I said, say no more. That's it. So then, since then, we've just been trying to grow the herd. And then in my quest, my passion for trying to figure out legitimately, without worrying about the cost, can I raise the best beef on planet Earth? How do I do it? Asking questions to the right people, trying to figure out what breed I want, kind of led me to raising Japanese Wagyu, which a lot of people don't realize that you can actually buy Wisconsin-raised, American-raised 100% Japanese Wagyu, because in the 90s, before they banned cattle leaving their country, they exported like 200 animals. And so a lot of those descendants are still in our country. You can buy genetics, the embryos, and all these things, and then build your herd like that. And so I just said, hey, if I'm going to do this, I only know one way to do things, so I'm going to do it right. So we went to auctions. We found the best genetics in the country. We recently, after hearing our story, Vermont Wagyu, which is one of the best Wagyu ranches in the world, not just America, been doing it for 2 decades. They were looking to get rid of their cow herd because they're getting out of the genetics world and just kind of focusing on finishing animals and selling direct to consumer in their e-commerce business. They have won Best Steak in America award several times. And they heard our story. They heard my passion. I talked to the owner, Dr. Sheila Patinkin, and so she actually sold me almost every single one of her cows that it was in her breeding program to breed this amazing Japanese 100% full-blood Wagyu in Wisconsin, in the Driftless area. So we've been doing that and working on just trying to make guys like Jason Wilde happy when he opens up that freezer box of Hall of Fame beef at his house and he looks at the most beautiful steaks and sticks and ground beef that he's ever seen in the entire world. And so that's been my passion project. That's what we're chasing right now. And I think Jesse will tell you, it's probably the best bite of steak he's ever had. And it's not like I got a grill sitting outside ESPN Wisconsin right now. I cooked that this morning, brought it in a container, but I hope someday, Jason, maybe I have to go to Green Bay to feed you, but I hope you get an opportunity to taste this delightful Wagyu beef from Hall of Fame beef on my farm, Six Springs Farm.
I'm not kidding, Jason, and I didn't know any of that story. That was the best bite of steak I've had in my life.
Just telling you.
That was so good.
You heard it here first.
I look forward to that package being delivered. Quick question before we move on. You did say at the beginning of that great story that your kids wanted cows for pets. Do they have a full grasp now as they've gotten older that they are not in fact pets, and the fate that these cows ultimately meet before they end up being eaten by Jesse?
If I could be productive after my time on Earth is gone and I could make people as happy as those beef cows do, make me and my family and friends, I would hope that my children would do the same thing with me. But it was interesting. They were at a perfect age because I think my youngest was like 1 and then my oldest was maybe 8, right? So they were old enough to know what was going on, but not like fully able to have like a really strong opinion one way or the other. And so the first several years worth of animals that we had, we were naming them after our kids, grandmas and grandpas, aunts and uncles, friends. And so they learned like, oh, let's go feed Jack the steer. It's going to be so fun because we go out there and we'll get a bucket of corn from the grain bin, go over and get in the feed trough and feed Jack and feed Logan and Cameron and stuff. And then a couple years later, all of a sudden, we got Logan burgers. We got some Jack ribeyes in there. And they asked the question and they realized what it was, but they hadn't fully developed like their opinions yet enough to be like, no way I'm going to try this. So they were open to trying it. And when they tried it, they were like, wow, this is really good. And so I think it was really important for them to understand like, okay, I can get over it because this is the circle of life. This is how agriculture works. And wow, that's really good beef. That's an amazing beef stick. They love the beef sticks, by the way. The apple cheddar is like their favorite thing on planet Earth. But they got over that. And then now it's not a big deal that, hey, we got these amazing cows. I love feeding them. They're my pets. And then, oh, by the way, we eat them. My wife, however, it took her a while. She had a steer when she was in like high school. And then for like 20 years, she didn't eat beef. So it took her getting pregnant with our oldest Logan at 28. So I think, geez, it was probably like 15 years. Didn't eat beef after they ate their pet cow, Norman.
Norman.
So we wanted to avoid that, which thankfully we did, because Normie, he was delicious. Let me tell you.
All right, we need to kick off the 10 o'clock hour, and Brian Gutekunst is speaking at the podium, and he said something interesting that we need to get to. We'll get to that when we kick off the 10 o'clock hour in 2 minutes. So stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
This is former Wisconsin linebacker Chris Orr. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison, a Good Karma Brands radio station on Wisconsin.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison for generations. Check them out at 220 State Street and online at goodmansjewelers.com. The Statement Series at American Family Field begins with a win for the Milwaukee Brewers. 8-4, the crew topped the Cubs last night, and a come-from-behind effort. Brewers were down 3-0 before the end of the top of the first inning. Tough start for Jacob Mizorowski. He was able to settle in, ended up with 7 strikeouts. The Brewers outscore the Cubs 8-1 the rest of the way, including home runs, 1 apiece for Sal Frelick, Christian Yelich, and Andrew Vaughn. The Brewers back with the best record in baseball, 63-43, 20 games over 500, and 1 game up on the Cubs for the top spot in the NL Central Division standings. The two teams back at it tonight, 6:40 first pitch. Quinn Priester on the mound for Milwaukee. Listen to the game, of course, here on Madison's home of the Brewers, 100.5 ESPN. And also watch the game free over the air on Channel 3, WISC TV here in Madison. Football, Packers training camp practice getting underway in about 20 minutes up in Green Bay. Jason Wilde hosting the show live in Green Bay as practice gets started shortly.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
O'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch begins now. Brian Gutekunst spoke earlier. Matt LaFleur is speaking or has just finished up down in the media auditorium. And something from Brian Gutekunst via Rob Domofsky of ESPN.com. Goody calling the injury to Marshawn Lloyd, the third-round pick a year ago, who had the worst injury luck I have ever seen a player have in a single season in all my time covering this team. And when he was finally healthy from all of his football injuries, he needed an emergency appendectomy and didn't get back on the field because of that. Now, Goody saying that the Marshawn Lloyd injury to his leg was a non-contact injury and that it did not appear to have been caused by the hit by Hobbs. If that was just the unfortunate circumstance, interesting, right? I still think that when the coach kicks a guy out of practice for a while, he still did something wrong, even if they don't think that that was the cause. But, Joe, did you ever have a guy that, I mean, this poor kid, if this is, because whenever I see non-contact, by the way, I think the worst, right? Like when you see that phrase, if this is as severe as maybe it could be, did you ever have a teammate that you're like, God, this guy is so good, but he just can't catch a break. All he catches is bad breaks. He's never healthy. Did you ever have anyone that you played with during your decade plus that went through that kind of thing?
Oh, I'm sure I did, and I'm trying to think back now quickly, like who would have been a good example, because I think it was a lot of times you had receivers or defensive backs that would come in, and it was like, man, hamstring injury, then their quad, and then they hurt their ankle, and it's like they can just never get healthy, especially during training camp. Mm-hmm. It's such an important time of the season to be getting in shape, to physically and mentally get yourself ready, build those calluses for the length of the season. And then if you're not there, like you're just never able to get up to speed. And then once the season starts, it's a lot of times too late. But a guy I never actually played with because he was injured the year I came into the NFL, and then he tried a comeback in year 2 for me, and he just wasn't able to do it. Was LaCharles Bentley. I think he tore his patella tendon the year before I was a rookie in Cleveland, and he was a big free agent signing. He was the top center paid in the NFL at the time, a big Pro Bowler, Cleveland guy too, so it was kind of a homecoming, so it was really sad. And the very first day, I think like one of the very first plays of training camp, he blows his patella tendon and then gets a staph infection. He's in the hospital for months and months. They think that it may have to amputate his leg. I mean, it was a real awful deal, and he actually never got back to playing in the NFL. It was such a bad staph infection, a little bit kind of like what Alex Smith had with his leg when he broke his leg. So I feel like every NFL team is littered with those type of stories because talent is oftentimes not the thing that holds you back from having a great NFL career.
Jesse, my question for you, and look, I wasn't down there. I was with you two and Evan when Goody was saying this. But I this is the life of a reporter. I'm always skeptical of stuff, right? Like that's part of the job, right? You can't just take whatever a coach or a GM or a player necessarily says, because there are times where you're not being told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I want to be very careful in my choice of words here because I was not there. But the circumstances under which Marshawn Lloyd got hurt and Nate Hobbs being an important piece that they signed in free agency, I'm not 100% sure that I would believe with 100% certainty that one had nothing to do with the other. Am I being unreasonable by thinking that way?
No, I think that's the way you have to as a reporter, especially as we know injuries in the NFL. There's a lot of flexibility in what the truth really is, as we all have seen throughout the years. The Belichicks, they did a great job of concealing or shrouding injuries by just saying he's got a leg or a lower body injury. You're like, okay, well, is it his toe? Is it his ankle, knee, hip? What are we talking about here? And I think one of the things you could do is, like, the player has been beaten down and the coach took it out on him, put him in timeout. Everybody saw the example they made of him, right? Nate Hobbs probably feeling pretty sorry for himself right now. How do you bring him back into the fold and let him feel like, hey, we still got your back. You're still our guy. Well, it's by going out in the media and kind of protecting him a little bit. No, that wasn't the hit that injured the player. It was something else. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to discuss it, but we don't have to pile on our player right now. And the player knows the truth. And he sees now that his team is going out and defending him publicly. Now he's like, okay, I know what I did was wrong. I know they had to take the action that they took, putting me in timeout, taking me out of practice, let me cool down. But they're my people. They understand me. They know how to get me motivated and how to bring the best out of myself. And I'm really ready to fight for these people because they're showing it with trying to defend me a little bit from the people that might have some pitchforks about what happened in practice yesterday.
If I may for a moment, there was a time in college when after a big night partying and whatnot, I slept and rolled over on my phone, which I never brought to the bed with me, and I cracked the screen. And then I was talking to someone the next day. They said, "Well, did you break your phone when you were drinking?" I said, "No, I broke it when I was sleeping."
I just happened to be sleeping at the bar. I mean, that's a common thing to do these days.
That's kind of what I'm starting to feel like we're seeing here with it. Did Nate Hobbs directly cause? Did Marshawn Lloyd get hurt the second that Nate Hobbs? Maybe not. But is it fair to assume that yesterday the big story that everyone was talking about after practice was Nate Hobbs going too hard and he hit Marshawn Lloyd and he had to be helped off the field? And then all of a sudden, the next day, the general manager or the head coach are saying Marshawn Lloyd's dealing with a fairly serious injury. It has nothing to do with that yesterday. It's totally separate. What else could there have been that happened separate from that? Was he just running drills on the side afterward and did something bad to his leg? That seems somewhat far-fetched to assume that. And like Joe's saying, it's probably just to protect Hobbs and to keep the dynamic in the locker room calm 1 week into practice would be my guess. Because the other thing you would have to try and measure, what's the intent of saying that it wasn't related to that? That's the only thing I could think of, right?
So again, I wasn't in the room. I don't know. I would just say this. It is conceivable, right? Plausible deniability, if you will, that he planted before he got hit and something happened in his knee or whatever it is, and then he got hit on top of it. I can't say that that's impossible. So I'm not, and again, I'm not in the room, and I'm certainly not a doctor. Tausch loves to tell everyone that I'm not a doctor at every turn because of my amateur diagnosis of Christian Watson. All I know is this: if this kid tore his ACL or tore a patellar tendon or whatever it might have been yesterday, whether it was directly or indirectly or completely unrelated to the Nate Hobbs hit, that really sucks for him because he has had some really awful luck. So we're going to have to wait and see. Matt LaFleur did address it, and what Matt LaFleur said is what you'd expect Matt LaFleur to say. Unfortunately, he's had to fight through a lot of adversity. He called the injury unfortunate. I think you can tell from tone usually if it's something pretty significant, and it sounds to me like it might be something significant. So we will find out more throughout the course of the day here. And we'll head down to practice in a little while. I want to remind you, and I'm not saying that Marshawn Lloyd should be litigious about this at all, but if he needs to make a call, there's only one call to make. Gruber Law Offices, one call, that's all. David and his team, they don't specialize in football practice injuries. They do specialize in serious injuries, though, and they will take care of you like they took care of us when we had questions. All it takes is one call. That's all. 414-276-6666. 414-276-6666. Gruber Law Offices, one call. That's all. More with Joethomas next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tauscher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
From the biggest stars to the greatest moments, Behind the Bucks is Bucks history like you've never heard it before. It's all on Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the new ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
When you're in the right place at the right time, things get done. The important things, like knowing what you need and how it all works. Talking truck. Fixing it right the first time. At Zimbrick Chevrolet, our people get it done right and now. That's how you know you're in the right place at the right time. And you'll never overpay at Zimbrick Chevrolet.
Siding Unlimited is Wisconsin's leader in Pella window installation. In fact, we are Wisconsin's only Pella Platinum Premier Certified contractor, and we've won Pella's prestigious National Contractor of the Year award 5 times. It's easy to get started. The process starts with homeowners meeting us at Siding Unlimited's amazing showroom on 2018 South Stoughton Road in Madison. Trust me, our showroom is a must-see. Looking for new windows, siding, roofing, and doors? Visit us at sidingunlimited.com or stop by our beautiful showroom in Madison.
The ESPN Madison Open, presented by Coors Light, is back. On Monday, August 4th, the ESPN Madison crew is packing up our bags and teeing off at TPC, Wisconsin for a day on the links. This year's Open is benefiting Mentoring Positives, a nonprofit based right here in Madison, dedicated to uplifting youth and families through mentoring, athletics, and youth entrepreneurship. The ESPN Madison Open, also brought to you by Carbless, Zimbrick Honda, Siding Unlimited, Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison, Clear Vision Pro Wash, and Vortex Optics.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
When it comes to your health, do you want to buy something online or do you want to meet with someone local? A local doctor with a family-owned business that cares about you. That's right. You want to meet with Nestor Rodriguez and Ashley Rodriguez at Carbon World Health. You have questions about cryotherapy, red light therapy, hormone replacement treatments, GLP-1s, or you just want to have a great workout. Carbon World Health is there for you. They have a new location in Sun Prairie, and they have their original location in Madison. So when it comes to your health, there's nowhere better to go than Carbon World Health in Madison and now in Sun Prairie.
You love choices.
Like your choices with a Sweeto metal roof.
Choose standing seam or high-profile steel shingles that come in a variety of styles that last a lifetime.
Put a Sweeto metal roof on and take the worry off with choices.
I'm Mike.
And Mary Sweeto. Enjoy the long-lasting architectural strength and beauty of a Sweeto metal roof.
SWITA metalroofing.com.
Sweeto Metal Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
We're on the Badgers.
It reminds me of our 2016 year.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
I think being the underdog is a great thing for Wisconsin football. I think this could be that year.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Give me one reason to steer, and I'll turn right back around. You can see me turning. Give me one reason to steer, and I'll turn right back around. And I don't want to leave you lonely. You gotta make me change my mind.
Packers getting ready to kick off practice right now down at Ray Nitschke Field. Jesse, I know our buddy Strofe was working hard to clip some audio. Matt LaFleur finished up at the podium a little while ago. What got your attention from the head coach that he said this morning?
Very detailed update here from Matt LaFleur on Marshawn Lloyd.
He was doing great. It's just, you'd like to have him out there. He's a guy that needs that experience and unfortunately has had to fight through a lot of adversity.
Yeah, that tone, Joe, I'm not an expert on tone. I know when Paul is mad at me, I certainly know that tone, and I'm guessing you know that one from Annie as well.
Wow. What makes you think that?
No, it's just intuition.
There you go. You're a smart man.
I am sometimes, but that didn't sound encouraging to me.
No, I mean, in training camp, they don't have to give injury updates. It's not like during the season when you've got a game because of the gambling interest. They have to be somewhat forthcoming about injuries that they have. But in training camp, you just get the dour tone when something like that has happened. And tough to say for sure because they haven't disclosed any information really other than it's potentially serious and that he's not out there. And when the coach is sounding like that, it could be that he's just, got the doldrums of training camp when you only get a couple hours of sleep every night. But more than likely, I think he's feeling a little sorry and sad about the injury and how it happened, the friendly fire incident that they had that now everybody's going to be talking about.
No doubt. All right, we need to here's what we're going to do. We're going to play trivia, and then I'm going to head down to practice, and Jesse and Joe are going to hold it down for a little while. Jesse and our team spent some time yesterday with Melvin Gordon, so they're going to talk a little bit about what Melvin had to say. But we need to play trivia first, presented by Vortex Golf. Jesse, today's Tuesday. We have a Badgers legend on the show. What do you got for trivia today?
I think you put it together. It's Badgers Trivia Tuesday for Wilde and Tausch Trivia today. Oh, he comes with his own sound effect.
That's my favorite. Oh, I love that. That's going to be my alarm in the morning from now on. It's just amazing.
It's also going to be a hot button for a hotkey for us every time something exciting happens. It'll be the sound of Joethomas going.
What was that old game, Asteroids or whatever you used to play on? Like,
Galaga?
Space Invaders?
Yeah, where it was like the next generation after Pong.
All right, well, maybe you'll get all three questions right, and you'll get to hear the signature Joethomas sound effect at the end of it. Caller 10 right now for Badgers Trivia Tuesday, 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. Caller 10 right now for Wilde and Tausch Trivia. We'll play next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road or visit PellaWI.com today.
The UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. People ask me, old T, why did you join UW Credit Union? Well, is it to keep your banking local? Is it the member first service? Great perks like early payday? Absolutely. But honestly, between us, it's Bucky. I can't say no to that face. If you love Wisconsin like I do, you just can't pay with anything else. Fandom makes us do crazy things, but this just makes sense. Become a UW Credit Union member and get your Bucky card like me. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
This is our crew.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Every pitch, every strike, every hit.
At the track, at the wall, jumped up. Jackson Chario brought it back.
Hear the call of every Milwaukee Brewers game this season on 100.5 ESPN.
Mizorowski deals. Struck him out. A heater at 101.
You're listening to Madison's new home for Milwaukee Brewers baseball. 100.5 ESPN.
Hey, Drew and Jonathan Scott here. Build a customized renter's policy with American Family Insurance so you can protect your tandem bike on the go. Thief! Oh, he is struggling with that two-seater. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Some exclusions may apply. Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
The Bucky Badger Student Mascot Fund was created to support the amazing student athletes who bring the best mascot in the world to life.
Hey, this is Gene Cho, Bucky from 03 to 05. Most memorable moment? Definitely getting arrested at a football game for crowd surfing as Bucky. Oof, maybe not the best shining moment for Bucky.
Your donation will help fund new scholarships to ensure that the rich tradition of Bucky lives on. Learn more at supportbucky.org. That's supportbucky.org.
Is your student gearing up for the season? Make sure they're ready to hit the field with a sports physical from Stoughton Health. We're offering $50 physicals for students 13 and older at our convenient urgent care locations in Stoughton, McFarland, Cottage Grove, and Oregon, with multiple dates and times to fit your schedule. Visit stoughtonhealth.com to view all dates and locations and to schedule your student's sports physical today. Stoughton Health, creating excellence together.
The search for luxury begins at Audi Madison. Save $5,500 when you purchase or lease a new 2025 Audi Q7 55. National customer credit is good toward the purchase, finance, or lease of a new Audi, but is only available until July 30th. Why drive something ordinary when you can drive something extraordinary? Stop in and test drive today. Check out AudiMadison.com to see current inventory and specials. Start your adventure at Audi Madison today, off the Beltline and Rimrock Road.
Get ready to say goodbye to those bland seltzers at the ballpark. Carbless is proudly Wisconsin-born, crafted by real people. A husband and wife team who wanted better cocktails in a can. They're locally made and blissfully better. Carbless offers a bold, true cocktail flavor that's made for baseball fans. Available in fan-favorite flavors like lemon lime, black raspberry, cranberry, and mango, bringing the craft cocktail bar to your seat. Refreshment that matches the energy of American Family Field is Carbless. Full of flavor, no sugar, and no carbs. Just game day bliss.
We're on the Badgers.
All of these folks that put these projections into the world, I don't think they have them winning 6 games.
Because we're on Wisconsin Sports.
Let this team prove that these projections are bunk.
This is 100.5 ESPN.
Joethomas is our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. I'm going to head down to practice momentarily. But first, time for trivia presented by Vortex Golf.
Wilde and Tausch Trivia is brought to you by Vortex Golf. Rangefinders you can bet on.
It is time for trivia. It is Badgers Trivia Tuesday. I'm going to stick around to ask a question, but here's what we're going to do. Jesse's going to ask question 1. I'm going to ask question 2, and then we're going to finish with the GOAT. Unless question 2 is specific to Joe.
Oh, maybe you should take a look at it.
Oh, yeah. My wife. Yeah. Okay.
Somewhat specific, I guess.
A little weird.
I guess we won't build to the most accomplished of the 3 people on the panel. Instead, we'll have the most accomplished go second, and I'll go last.
Great idea.
Let's welcome in our contestants. It is JJ in Dodgeville. JJ, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Honored to be on with you, and love Joethomas.
I appreciate you saying that.
My guy, Dodgeville, pretty close to basketball. We may have run into each other at the feed store at some point.
You talking about that Wagyu beef? I smoked meat. And,
baby, we need to talk. We need to talk later. It's a different level, different experience. I tell people you've had steak and then you've had Wagyu. They're different animals.
Yep. Well, no, Wagyu is the elite.
Elite.
Well, we will get you two carnivores together a little bit later. First, we need to play trivia. As Jesse wrote them. Jesse, you've got question number 1.
My pleasure, Jason. Kicking off today, the Wisconsin Badgers football team is holding what has become a traditional fall camp on the campus of which WIAC school? Is that on the campus of UW Platteville, UW Stout, or Heartland Arrowhead High School?
I'm 25 minutes away from UW Platteville.
All right, this is not the question for me. This is the question for Joe. Joe has question number 2.
Which sport did my wife, Annie, play at the University of Wisconsin from 2002 to 2006?
You should give them the option.
Basketball, volleyball, or hockey?
Yeah.
I was pausing for dramatic effect. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that clearly. It was...
say it again, JJ.
What? Don't say the one you just said.
I'll go with basketball.
Yeah!
Oh, boy.
Teamwork makes the dream work. He's a Hall of Famer. He can do whatever he wants. All right, JJ.
Meat lovers or stick together.
Yes, meat lovers unite. All right,
Smart
question.
We do have a controversial asterisk now prone perfect week going, just so we know.
Hey.
Nope. No
Well,
asterisk.
JJ, you kind of deserve that, in fairness.
It's a
All right,
common
question
mistake.
3. Let's see what happens in question 3. Which opponent, JJ, was the last team Wisconsin defeated in a regular season college football game? Last opponent the Badgers beat in football in a regular season game. Was that last win against Northwestern, Rutgers, or Purdue?
Purdue.
Well, the good news is that with a little bit of help, you still got 2 out of 3 right, which means you've got 3 of the possible 4 entries, whether you deserve that extra entry or not, into Friday's drawing, or maybe we'll do it Thursday since Jim, Matt, and Molly are filling in for us on Friday. But either way, JJ, we appreciate you playing. Thanks for your loyalty to the show, buddy. Thanks.
Yep, no problem, and thanks, Joe.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Be a little more
Gotta help a
discreet
brother
about
out.
it, JJ. I mean,
No,
A
we're just
little
fans
more
of each
discreet,
other.
Joey. Yeah. All right. So that's trivia. I'm going to head down to practice. I'm going to leave this in the capable hands of Joethomas and Jesse Nelson. And I'm also going to leave you with the voice of Mark Tauscher from Beyond Vacation, telling us about his love of Coors Light. More Wilde and Tausch straight ahead. Stick around.
Mark Tauscher here for the Blue Mountains of cold, refreshing Coors Light. Whether you're tailgating pregame, enjoying your experience during the game, celebrating a big win after the game, or you just need a moment to chill, crack open a Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light. Coors Light is brewed with a 3-step cold process: cold lager, cold filtered, and cold packaged, so it's actually made to chill. The mountains on Coors Light's cold-activated bottles and cans turn blue when chilled to perfection, which, besides the refreshing taste, is my favorite thing about drinking Coors Light. Refreshingly cold and only 102 calories, Coors Light is made to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
We're on the Packers.
The last 4 or 5 games are going to be very difficult.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
But I still think they can get 11 wins out of this schedule.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Steinhoffels. Sleep better with Tempur-Pedic at Steinhoffels. Queen hybrids from $52 per month plus $300 in Steinhoffels cash. Shop now in-store or online. A standout message. Wisconsin football getting a blast from the past with J.J. Watt visiting practice. The Badger legend speaking to the locker room during his visit, hyping up this year's squad. Linebacker Darrell Peterson taking the message to heart, motivated to uphold Wisconsin's legacy.
When you think of this place, you think physicality, running the ball, stopping the run. Like that's one of the big things he told us. I think that was one of the things that stuck to me. Like he was like, we were playing guys like we might have lost, but they knew they played us afterwards. That was one of the things that stuck with me, and that's my challenge to our defense now. Let's get these guys living out here in body bag.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella experience. Get 0% interest for up to 5 years if you order by July 31st at PellaWI.com.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it for yourself at 2 convenient Madison service locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. From simple maintenance to expert repairs, Honda certified technicians handle it all. Need new tires? For a limited time at Zimbrick Honda, you can buy 3 tires and get the 4th for only $1. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop local. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Summer is here, and there's no better way to celebrate than with Door County Distillery. Hey, it's Alex Stroh. I've been telling you for years how great Door County Distillery is. Locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. The sun is shining, and so can the Rock Island Rum from Door County Distillery in your summertime cocktail. Otherwise, vodkas, gins, whiskeys, brandies, and more, it's all available from the award-winning Door County Distillery. Find a huge list of unique cocktail recipes and the retailer nearest you, DoorCountyDistillery.com. That's DoorCountyDistillery.com.
Hi, this is Lee, inviting you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. We got a great happy hour every day of the week from 4 o'clock to 7, and our patio during the summer is open too. If you're getting married, special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, or even a business meeting, we've got all the accommodations right here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. You work hard, and sometimes you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to spend your money. I want to encourage you to come into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and say hello. It'd be a pleasure to meet you.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you.
Delta Dental is proud to sponsor Family Sundays at Helfair Field. Play catch on the field on Sundays from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. prior to Brewers' regular season home games. Admission is free.
Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org, insured by NCUA.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
We're on the Brewers.
2025 wants to be in the discussion as one of the greatest Brewers teams of all time.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
It's going to come down to what they do in October.
This is Madison's new home of Milwaukee Brewers baseball. 100.5 ESPN.
Wilde and Tausch back with you, but it is Jesse and Joe, I guess, for the time being. Jason Wilde getting situated down on the sidelines of Packers training camp practice, where he'll share some insights and observations coming up in just a little bit. The Packers back out on the practice field at Rainichke Field up in Titletown coming up here in just a little bit. Jason will rejoin us to host the show from Green Bay in the 11 o'clock hour coming up. So, in the meantime, yesterday, Brad Nortman and I had a great conversation in this block of time as Jason went down to go get situated, and I figured let's do it again with another Brookfield Central alum. So, we had a really fun time yesterday afternoon. I had the opportunity to fill in hosting Jim, Matt, and Molly in the afternoons here on ESPN Madison from 4 to 6. Molly Brown and I were up at Trapper's Turn Golf Course in the Wisconsin Dells for the NFL alumni golf outing. Melvin Gordon was in attendance, former Badger. And we asked Melvin, he had a fun round. He was involved in this playoff that he was unsuccessful in winning, so he was a little still coming off the high, I think, of the highest competition, competing for a potential title in that NFL alumni outing. He did not win, so he's a little bummed, but he hopped on with Molly and I regardless, and we had a great conversation talking about Wisconsin football. And morale is down. I think that's pretty clear, Joe, across the board. Morale is down as we head into the 2025 season, and fairly, coming off a first season in forever not reaching a bowl game. Back-to-back, you feel like the program isn't getting better so far after 2 seasons with Luke Fickell as the head coach. I think fairly fans and others have critiqued the program, and morale is low. So I asked Melvin Gordon at the conclusion of our time yesterday, what message do you have to fans to help them feel better about this coming season, knowing that morale is a bit down? This is about 1 minute and 20 seconds. And I want you to hear what Melvin Gordon had to say with us yesterday, and then I want to hear what Joethomas, arguably the greatest Wisconsin Badgers football player of all time. I'm saying it. Here's what Melvin Gordon had to say yesterday.
Just have faith. You not having any faith is not doing anything for our football team. That's not helping us win games. Come in early. Be rooting early. Be loud. Find ways to help give us that advantage when people come into Kent Randall. The fans make the difference. They do. And I think they've always known that. And things have been rocky. They have. And I can understand, their loss of faith. But, as a Badger, you have to continue to keep that. We brought in Fickell. So, therefore, we have to believe that he'll get the job done. And my thoughts is that he will, and his staff will. No coach wants to lose. It's not like Fickell goes in there and be like, I'm losing, I want to lose. He wants to beat every team, right? That just is what it is. So we have to have that faith in him. And if you guys don't have that faith, we will. And, I hope that you would have that too. Walk in there, like I said, be the 12th man. Be that extra player that we need to win those games. Just have faith, have patience. You got to understand the NIL. It's a new beast that everybody is handling. Barry Alvarez, nobody else had to deal with this. Guys coming, leaving. Nobody had to deal with this at Wisconsin before. So we have to take that into factor too. And just like I said, have the utmost faith. And I'm a root for the Badgers, win or lose, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna be pissed if we lose in Minnesota. So remember that.
He was very clear that he wanted to beat Minnesota more than anybody yesterday when Melvin joined us yesterday. Melvin Gordon, again, on Jim, Matt, and Molly yesterday. You can find the full interview available on the podcast on the ESPN Wisconsin app, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. So a lot to take away there, Joe. What stood out to you? How you feeling?
When I listened to Melvin, what I think he was trying to give fans is a perspective into the mindset of an athlete, of one of the players on the team. And it's something that I went through every offseason during my career, going all the way back to high school. You've got to build this belief within yourself that you can do it, right? Because that's what brings the most out of who you are as a player, as a leader, as a teammate. It gets you to grind when it doesn't feel like it's a day that you want to grind, when your body's not feeling great, you're sore, it's hot, you're sweaty. You got to find that belief, because the only way you're able to dig down and do the hard things that nobody else wants to do in football practice, in training camp, during the season, is to have that belief that you're working for something bigger than just going out and playing a good game for yourself. And even at the end of my career, we went 1-31 the last 2 years. Not a lot of wins, not a lot of talent going in, but you did have to kind of fool yourself a little bit going in to say, yeah, we can do this thing, right? Because you need to have that positivity. You need to bring that energy every single day. Whereas typically fans, they're a bit more pessimistic in general, right? They like to kind of talk about the team when we lose and those guys and put people over there. And, it feels good to gripe to your buddies at the bar when you're at the family reunion. And that's what people talk about, right? It's such a big part of their life. And I think that's normal, right? That's one of the blessings of being a fan now that I'm sitting on this side of the game rather than having to be in those meetings, is I can be a little bit more honest. I can complain a little bit more, right? And dream of the glory days gone by with the Barry Alvarez years. But I think it is important for him, with some of the things that he said there, for people to recognize that the stage in college football is completely different. I mean, Nick Saban, the greatest college coach of all time, he walked away because it's so much more difficult now to do your job as a head coach and have that consistent level of success that a lot of programs have had with the transfer portal, with the NIL, and specifically from Wisconsin's standpoint, dealing with a really, really tough schedule now. I mean, when I was playing, you played a couple teams in the top 5 maybe every year, every other year, possibly usually Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Those are the teams that usually were up there. But then the rest of your schedule was fairly easy. I'm going to be totally honest, right? My last year in Wisconsin, we went 12-1. We lost to Michigan. But then we beat some good teams, but it's not like we were having to play like last year. Number 1 Oregon, number 4 Alabama, number 3 Penn State, number 13 USC. And so you had to deal with a much easier schedule. But now the schedule is so much more difficult with the added teams in the Big Ten, with making games more competitive in the non-conference schedule, booking teams like Alabama, LSU, some of the great programs in college football. And, oh, by the way, the Minnesotas are better. The Nebraska, Rutgers, Northwestern, Purdue's, those teams are all better now because they're able to spend a little bit money on players. They're able to get at least a few good players to kind of build their program around with that college free agency and the transfer portal, that even the layups aren't layups anymore. And so fans have not yet readjusted what their equilibrium is and what that perspective is on what a good season looks like. In the NFL, if you're 500 or above, at least this is Cleveland's perspective. I know Packer fans are a little bit they're a little bit more blessed. They've had a little
standards
bit,
a little
the standards
different,
are a little higher. But yet, if you go 10-7 now in Green Bay, they're going to go, that's a good year because you're in the playoffs and that's all you want to do. And that's really what coaches in college football now are targeting. Let's get into the college football playoffs. And if we played a hard schedule, we've hardened our roster and our players, we've come together as a team, anybody can go win a national championship. But yet for fans, in our mind here at Wisconsin, we're still thinking 10 wins. That's what the standard is. And I'm not saying we should readjust our perspective and our expectations for how many wins we should have in the season. But I think it's important to at least be a little bit mindful as we're helping to build ourselves into the season, believing in this team, believing in Coach Fickell, believing in the new direction that they're headed, which is a little bit more old school approach, back to the Wisconsin style of more smash mouth, run the football, play with a couple tight ends and a fullback on offense. And so I think Melvin hit on all those parts and then kind of was saying, hey, we need to believe just like the players believe, because they need us out there as fans. They need us cheering. They don't want to be moving around town hearing about how the team stinks. We can't wait to get rid of these guys and these coaches, because that affects young players way more than it does NFL players. And you can understand that if you're 18, 19, 20, and that's what you're hearing, that's the message, the pessimism going into the season. It can be good, right? Because it makes you circle the wagons and give you the us against the world, which was what Belichick was always doing, right? Trying to look for those insults in the media and making it bulletin board material and say nobody believes in us, which is good. But it can also have the opposite effect, especially on younger players, where it's like, well, maybe we aren't very good. I think I'm seeing good stuff in practice. I'm believing what coaches are saying, but I'm constantly hearing this noise on the outside. So it's difficult for a former player like Melvin to really impact the fan base and their perspective a lot. But I think he's doing a great job saying, hey, guys, we need everybody here as fans to believe in what we're doing. We need to believe in this new direction. Show up, cheer those guys on, because that's the kickstart that they need to the season, which faces an incredibly difficult schedule.
One more for you, because I think this means a lot coming from you as we get ready for the Badger season. 1 month from yesterday, they kick it off against Miami, Ohio on a Thursday night at Camp Randall Stadium. Yesterday, I asked Brad Nortman, I gave him a multiple choice question. I said, which season do you think this could most represent from Badgers years past? And one was one of the options was 1992, the third year for Barry Alvarez. The team went 5-6, beat Ohio State as a ranked team, didn't make a bowl game, but that felt like, you know, they had a signature victory and it helped propel what ended up being the Rose Bowl team in 93 and so on. Brett Bielema in his third year went 7-6. The team still made a bowl game, but again, you were kind of seeing the transition then from Barry to Brett, and then he ended up writing the course, and the rest is history. Paul Chryst in his second year, the team, was coming off an okay year the previous season, had a lot of tough games on their schedule, including number 5 LSU at Lambeau Field out of the gates. They won that game. They ended up winning a bunch of those games, went 3-2 against top 10 teams. Finished 9-3, made the Cotton Bowl, beat Western Michigan and PJ Fleck. Is it fair to ask which of these 3 seasons this season could most represent? Or do you view this, as Melvin was kind of alluding to at the end of that commentary, that this is totally uncharted territory? No Wisconsin team has ever faced this schedule. No Wisconsin team has dealt with NIL and transfer portal the way that Coach Fickell has in the last 3 years as the rules have changed. How do you view that, Joethomas?
Yeah, every season's different, but I'll give you another one, and I see it a little bit like my senior year, 2003. It was Brett's first, 2006. 2003, I was a freshman. Okay, great. I got it all figured out now. 2006, it was Brett's first season, and we were coming off of a 10-3 season with Barry Alvarez, but the expectations were a lot higher. We started, I think, 9-0, and we were one of the top teams in the country. Everybody was smelling themselves. Everybody on the team that, was possibly a draft pick was thinking about, oh, man, we're going to finish this year. I'm going to go get paid millions of bucks in the NFL. And I think there was some focus that was lost at the end of the season. But then the next year, Brett comes in. We didn't really have a lot of household names. John Stocko's our quarterback. I think P.J. Hill was our running back. And, not a lot of heralded guys going into the season. We didn't have a ton of draft picks on the offensive line. But you know what we were? We were a team. And we used the bulletin board material of people not really respecting us or not even knowing who we were to come together. And we created something that was really special for me, for Badger fans. Obviously, it's not as well remembered as when you win a Rose Bowl or you win a BCS game at the end of the season, because at the time, we were in the top 5 in the BCS rankings going into bowl season, but they only were able to take 2 Big Ten teams because you were only allowed 2 teams from each conference to go to the BCS. So we were on the outside looking in because we'd lost to Michigan, and then they lost to Ohio State, who I think was undefeated that year. So we had to play in the Capital One game, but we won that game, ended up 12-1. It was a remarkable season, and it really kickstarted Brett Bielema's tenure there. And then a few years later, they had high expectations, same type of thing. Bunch of guys looking forward to the NFL, bunch of great players, and they just never came together as a team. And if you look back throughout history, going back to when Barry got here, it seems like our best teams are the teams that don't have a high ranking going into the season, don't have really high expectations, because the Badger football program has always been built on the backs of walk-ons, Wisconsin natives, guys that are hardworking, they're tough, they're resilient, they're willing to do the things that the other teams and people are not able to do, and they always come together as a team because they're unselfish. And I see this team in a very same perspective, in the very same place as we were in 2006, because you are coming off of a tough year. You are coming off of high expectations when they brought Fickell in here, right? People forget very quickly in sports, which is good and bad, but they forget that, he was the top name as a head coaching candidate potentially for a while there, and everybody thought maybe he was going to take over Ohio State. And Chris McIntosh goes in there, and they have this great relationship right off the bat from their time playing in the Big Ten, and we get Fickell, and everybody's all excited about what he's going to bring and how he's going to be able to recruit more top flight talent. And I think the expectations are not there anymore, and the team is feeling like, hey, we still feel like we can be somebody. We can do this. And I think that's a really good position for Wisconsin football because it fits the culture here, who we are as Wisconsin people, always pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. Nobody's given us a chance, but we've always found a way. And I think the makeup of the team feels a lot more like those teams with guys that just want to work. They just want to play together. They just want to grind, and they feel like there's a belief in their coaching staff and each other.
I hear Brad Nortman say things yesterday. I hear Melvin Gordon. Now I hear you. I can't wait for Badger football.
Can't wait. Let's go.
It's going to be tough this year, but that's going to be part of the fun, is facing those challenges every week with that great schedule that they're facing, including Alabama, Ohio State. You mentioned some of the great games on the schedule for the course of the season. It starts on August 28th at Camp Randall, hosting Miami, Ohio, to kick things off under the lights. When we come back in 2 minutes, we will kick off the 11 o'clock hour. Jason Wilde rejoins the show live from Green Bay as the Packers get back to training camp practice. Insights and observations and thoughts from Joethomas. Don't go anywhere. The 11 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch starts in 2 minutes.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The ESPN Madison Open presented by Coors Light is back. On Monday, August 4th, the ESPN Madison crew is packing their bags and teeing off at TPC Wisconsin for a day on the links. This year's Open is benefiting Mentoring Positives, a nonprofit based right here in Madison dedicated to uplifting youth and families through mentoring, athletics, and youth entrepreneurship. The ESPN Madison Open is also brought to you by Ridgetop Exteriors, Starion Bank, Celebrations Entertainment, The Bogey Factory, Bruner Realty, and Hush Blackwell.
This is Wisconsin Volleyball National Champion Devin Robinson. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by the ESPN Wisconsin app, home to all your favorite ESPN Wisconsin shows at the touch of a fingertip. Plus, find featured content, enter contests, and more. Your state, your teams, your ESPN. Download the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple and Android app stores today. The Green Bay Packers back at training camp practice right now up in Titletown. The big news of the morning, piggybacking off the big news of yesterday, Marshawn Lloyd, running back, who missed all of last season with various injuries, again facing an injury, which both Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur addressed in press conferences with the media this morning. Plenty to talk about as Jason Wilde hosts the 11 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch live from training camp practice. Matt LaFleur describing the injury from Marshawn Lloyd as unfortunate this morning. We'll hear plenty more about it coming up here on 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Better news in Milwaukee last night as the Brewers took down the Chicago Cubs in Game 1 of their statement series at American Family Field. 8-4 the final score. Brewers were down 3-0 after the top of the first. Outscored the Cubs 8-1 the rest of the way. Two teams back at it tonight. 6:40 first pitch on 100.5 ESPN.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
O'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch with Joethomas as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin sub, we believe it better. Begins now. Great conversation between Jesse and Joe about the state of affairs with Badgers football. And again, if you missed that, I didn't because I listened to it on my walk down to practice. You can find that in the ESPN Wisconsin app. Marshawn Lloyd is out here at practice. He is standing on the sideline. Everyone else is in pads. The running backs are hitting the sled, and he's a spectator. So, again, we don't have any further details on what the injury actually is or how long he'll be out. We'll see if Marshawn is in the locker room when we go in there after practice. But that was one of the headlines from this morning's session with Goody and Matt LaFleur. But right now they are into padded practice number 2. And the offensive linemen are going through their drill work. I think I got down here a little too late for one-on-one pass rush, pass protection, which Joe mentioned earlier. We all keep score on it. Not all of us, but Joe, I always wondered if my scorecard was correct when I did it, because a draw is always a win, right? Like for you, a draw is a win, and a win is a win. The only thing that is winning for a pass rusher is getting past you and getting into the back, right? So, what was were you undefeated? We know your snap streak. What was your streak in one-on-one? How important of a part of practice is that when we get into pass?
Yeah, it's interesting. My record is similar to my snap streak because I went 10.5 years, never missed a snap in the game, and then one-on-one pass rush. I never lost a rep in 10.5 years either, which is great because one-on-one pass rush is a great drill. I mean, it is hard to win. Everything's slanted towards the defense, but there also is this like plausible deniability within an O-line meeting room where like if you do get beat, unless you just fall on your face and the guy runs past you, then we know, okay, who won. But as long as you're making contact, the excuse in the O-line room is always going to be like, oh, well, the quarterback, he would have stepped up in the pocket or he would have slid to his right a little bit. So you always have that. As long as you got your hands on the guy and you're kind of trying to move him past the quarterback, you can always talk yourself into how that was a win in one-on-one pass rush.
So, did you you really never lost a rep?
In my mind, it's like holding. I never had a holding call that was legit either.
It's not.
No, I think Myles Garrett, he got me plenty. I mean, I only played against him 1 year when he was a rookie, and it was my last season, but that guy was a monster. I'm glad I'm not blocking him every day in practice right now.
So when you would go into those sessions, though, could you tell the guys, like obviously you mentioned Myles Garrett your last year, but like other guys that came through during your time there in Cleveland, could you tell the guys that had a chance just based on what they did against you, even if they didn't beat you?
Oh, yeah, you can tell right away because, you know, when they're a young guy, a lot of times they only have a few moves. And I got really good at looking at their body positioning in the snap and like how far away they were. And based on what they've done in the past, I kind of knew what they were going to rush me with. And so I wasn't really surprised by the moves that they would try to give me, but you could tell by the power, like when they run into you and boom, you can really feel them. And all of a sudden they're starting to move you back and you have to make an adjustment. I got to put my heels in the ground. I got to sit down a little bit more on this guy. So you can kind of feel that power. And then you can also feel how reactive they are. You know, I think one of the things that the Watt brothers were so good at is they were like wrestlers, right? Like first touch was important, but they could feel where you were leaning as an offensive lineman and then use it against you, right? JJ's big thing was he would take both of his hands, put them in your chest. He would try to shock you back, make you feel like you were going to get run over, so you get on your heels, and then he'd jerk you forward, and then he'd swim around you. So just how quickly they can feel where you're leaning, you can feel that in one-on-one pass rush. And I think to me that's a big indicator of how quickly they're going to be reacting and responding to what the offense is giving them in front of them. And that's a big indicator of if they're going to be successful in the NFL or not.
So the reason I ask is obviously this team not great at getting after the quarterback last year. You know, we watched Philadelphia and what they were able to do, especially after Elton Jenkins with that stinger after 4 snaps. I mean, the Eagles completely owned the line of scrimmage with their front four. They didn't have to send simulated pressure. They didn't have to send blitzes. They were able to generate a really dominant pass rush with their front four. The Packers, not so much, right? And they had a few games where they put up really big sack numbers. I think they had 8 against Seattle. They had 9 against Tennessee. That's 17 of their 41, 45 sacks they had last season, all in those 2 games. And so the numbers don't look as bad as it felt with their pass rush. And so, you know, you look at Rashawn Gary, who is now entering year 7. You look at Lucas Van Ness, who's going into year 3. You look at Devontae Wyatt, who got off to a pretty strong start. Then he hurt his ankle, but he was creating pressure inside. And then you look at Kenny Clark, who battled an injury from the very first game in Brazil on and had probably his worst season. So when you're looking and evaluating pass rushers and you're looking at whether or not they could come in and get the job done without the blitzes, without the trickeration, if you will. What are you looking for? And do you see that in these guys? Because, you know, my line about Rashawn Gary is, you know, here's a guy that he's paid like an elite pass rusher, but he can't be an elite pass rusher if you've never had double-digit sack season. I understand sacks are not the only way that pass rushers are evaluated, but nobody's saying, oh, Myles Garrett is an elite pass rusher. Career high was 9.5 sacks in the season. So how do you view the Packers pass rush, and how do you know if in year 2 in this system they may actually be able to be good without having to send all the other tricks and blitzes that they had to do?
Well, you mentioned that was a big part of the Eagles' success winning the Super Bowl this year. If you can get home with just your front four and you don't have to blitz anybody, it makes it so hard for a quarterback because he just has so much fewer holes to be able to throw into in that secondary because you just got more bodies back there. And, you know, not everybody's going to have the Eagles pass rush. It's one of the best defensive lines of all time was what they had last year, and they're bringing a bunch of those guys back. But I think looking at Rashawn Gary, you're hoping that the return from that major knee injury is going to continue to improve and progress because I had a torn ACL when I was in college going into my senior year, and it really took up until year 2, and even in year 3 and 4, I was feeling stronger and better on that knee. So those knee injuries do take a little bit of time, and I think figuring out your place within a defense does take a little bit of time sometimes. Obviously, there are always those outliers, those Myles Garretts, but you know he's one of the great pass rushers of all time, so it's really not fair to kind of compare a guy like that to a guy who you feel like has Pro Bowl potential and who could be a difference maker. But I think year 2 is a big deal for somebody in a defense because you're starting to understand when can I take my chances. And at first, you just don't want to be the guy that's out of position. You don't want to screw up and get out of your gap and allow the quarterback to escape. And then now, you know, you're the reason we had an 80-yard touchdown pass. What the heck are you doing? Bah, bah, bah. And it's important for those guys to learn when they can take those chances, how they fit into that defense. I'm a defensive end. I know that because I'm protected by my outside linebacker or somebody in the outside if the quarterback breaks free. So now I'm going to set that tackle upfield, make him think I'm giving him that speed rush, and now I can dip inside and potentially try to make a game-changing play. And I think Coach Hafley's defense is very fundamentally sound. It's very difficult to go and get big plays on them because they don't make a lot of busts. But because of that, you know, there's a lot of times when guys feel like they're in their box and they're not allowed to leave their gap, and I have to keep rushing this gap, and everybody knows it, including the tackle I'm going against. But finding those windows, finding those times where you do get the green light to be a little bit more creative with your rush, to talk and set up a game with your defensive tackle, and so you're able to get free and manufacture a little bit of pressure besides just beating your man one-on-one. I think that's a huge thing that you learn in year 2 when you're in a defense like Coach Hafley's. And I'm really looking for Lucas Van Ness. I know he's a guy that's got incredible speed. He's got the power. He's got all the tools, and now it's just a matter of, okay, I've spent the time in practice in the offseason working on my craft, improving the technique, understanding the nuances of the game and when I should set the guy up, when I should bull rush him, when it's a better time. Okay, the quarterback might be dropping short. I need to get my hands up, try to get in the passing lanes, knock the football down. Okay, you know, it's 3rd and 7. I see the tackle. He's leaning back a little bit in his stance more. I see their formation. I recognize that they usually only have 3 plays out of here, and all of them I'm okay to be able to set the guy upfield and spin back inside. It's those little games within the game that you get better at as you improve, and then you're allowed to peel back that onion and find the potential that these guys have to be those great pass rushers. And then all it takes is 1 or 2, and then you build on that confidence. And then we always talk about sacks coming in bunches and where guys are playing off each other, and then an offensive line, they're starting to scratch their head and look for answers. Oh, I don't know, this guy can't handle him. I need some help. We need to slide this way. And then now the other guys are able to feast.
All right, so I want to bounce a theory off of you next. And Jesse and Tausch have heard it, everyone else across ESPN Wisconsin, because I've so many times during this offseason. But given your experience and, unfortunately, the lack of maybe team success that you experienced during your NFL career, I am curious about the number of players on this team that have shown flashes of being really good, but haven't done it consistently. Because to me, this team going to where it wants to go is going to be counting on a lot of guys that have had good moments, but not consistent playing at that level. We'll talk to Joethomas, our cousin sub of the day, cousin subs, we believe in better, about that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tauscher here for the great team at Everlight Solar. There's a bunch of energy and excitement around the start of brand new football seasons in Green Bay and Madison. And speaking of energy, the start of a new football season could also mean the start of a new way to power your home. How would you like to start saving money while also helping save the planet? All you have to do is make the switch with Everlight Solar. Our family is one of many who have made the switch to solar over the last several years. We knew we had wanted to, but weren't exactly sure where to even start. That's when we met with the Everlight team, and they outlined the entire process and educated us on the benefits of making the switch. It was super simple. Join us in saving a ton of money and creating a greener environment for our family and the community by switching to solar. Learn more and schedule a free consultation at everlightsolar.com. That's everlightsolar.com.
The Milwaukee Brewers, the Chicago Cubs.
And a fly ball left center field. This is well struck. This is gone! Andrew Vaughn!
Tonight on 100.5 ESPN.
If you're looking for a special piece of jewelry for any occasion, Condon Jewelers is always there for you. Condon Jewelers has the best selection of jewelry you'll ever find and guaranteed to have the lowest prices in the Madison area. Free shipping is always available. Visit CondonJeweler.com or call 241-3406 and ask for Jim, the owner, who's at the store every day. Shop locally. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
To those who've ever dreamt of their perfect event, those dreams are worthy and they are possible. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With hard work, passion, and great music, we will make your event dreams a reality. Every event is a labor of love with one-on-one planning, customization, and flawless execution. Bringing your event to life is what we do. For a fun, memorable event, visit celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Ben Brust here to tell you about why your next work van should be from Mercedes-Benz Sprinter at Zimbrick European. First off, we have versatility. The Sprinter vans offer 16 body types and thousands of ways to customize that space. Number 2, we have reliability. Sprinter's most powerful diesel engines last longer and require less maintenance, spend more time on the road and less time in those bays. Number 3, we have safety. Sprinter's safety technologies include curtain airbags all around, load adaptive electronic stability program, and crosswind and attention assist. Number 4, Van Care Mobile. Our maintenance team can come to you with routine service. Who wants to go in? Let them come to you. They work with multiple trucks on one visit. Use the Mercedes Me Connect. And last but not least, get your Zimbrick Sprinter at Zimbrick European at Rimrock Road and the Beltline, or go online at ZimbrickEuropean.com because your next Mercedes Sprinter van is waiting for you.
Hi, this is Lee, inviting you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. We got a great happy hour every day of the week from 4 o'clock to 7, and our patio during the summer is open too. If you're getting married, a special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, or even a business meeting, we've got all the accommodations right here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. You work hard and sometimes you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to spend your money. I want to encourage you to come into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and say hello. It'd be a pleasure to meet you.
This August, guests at Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison are diving into the sea in search of a treasure trove of cash. So come on by and seek your fortune. Starting at 6 p.m. on Saturday, August 30th, 24 winners will each select a cash prize of up to $5,000. Then at 9 p.m., one grand prize winner will swim away with $20,000 in cash. The treasure chest is full, so dive into the fun at Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
Give him hell, tender hands, gonna live life till we're dead. Give me scars, give me pain, then the say of me, say of me, say of me. There goes the fire.
Continuing with Joethomas, the Pro Football Hall of Famer, and slightly lower on his resume, today's Cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better on Wilde and Tausch. Walked by a sign for Associated Bank on my way down to practice, and of course Associated Bank is the official bank of the Packers, and not only that, they're the official bank of great customer service. They've got the awards to prove it. So whether it's early pay, credit monitoring, fraud protection, or your Packers, Badgers, and Brewers checking accounts, they've got exactly what you need. So go to AssociatedBank.com to find out more. Joe, I have a theory about this team, and it's one of the more interesting seasons for me because I honestly don't know what I should expect from them. There's part of me that thinks, okay, they had a lot of really good football players who now have experience, and it's time for them to elevate their games. That whole group of wide receivers, Jordan Love, right? However you want to view last season, he certainly didn't play as well as he did down the stretch of his first season as the starter. On defense, we just spent a lot of time talking about a bunch of pass rushers that have been inconsistent. They've got Edgerrin Cooper, who's looking to have a big second season. They've got Quay Walker, who did not get the fifth-year option, and they need him to elevate his game. They've got all these corners that none of them are a clear-cut CB1, and they all have something to prove as well. If those players play as well as they're capable of playing and doing consistently, I think this could be a damn good football team. So 12-5 and making a run to the divisional or even the NFC championship. On the other hand, if all those guys are what they've been to this point, which is good players who show flashes of greatness but lack consistency and make mistakes at critical moments, then they're going to have a tough time against a tough schedule. So, given your experience, what is realistic to expect from guys that, and I'm sure you had teammates like this, who had flashes where you're like, boy, this guy's really good. But I'm guessing you also had an experience as a player during some of those tougher years where you had guys where you're like, oh, this guy should be really good, but he just can't do it consistently. So I'm curious what your expectations are for this team and what's realistic to expect from what I would argue is about a dozen guys who have to elevate their games from being good sometimes to being good almost all the time.
The one consistent with all those guys that you mentioned is their inconsistency, right? And I think that's what you're looking at right now with the Packers, and it all starts at the quarterback position because as your quarterback goes, your team is going to go. And so if they're able to get more consistent play from Jordan Love, and now he's got another tool, a little weapon out on the outside that Packer fans are actually going bananas over because the Packers finally drafted a receiver in the first round, Matthew Golden. I was actually up at the draft in Green Bay working on the stage, and it was so cool seeing the response by all those Packer fans that stuck around late in the first round and seeing Matthew Golden get selected because they know that, hey, this season and the seasons moving forward is all going to come down to Jordan Love and how he plays and giving him that weapon that now you're going to have some expectations. You're going to get a little more consistent production out of the passing game is really the foundation of everything we do. But the very first thing that happens when a young player comes into an NFL team is like everybody's looking from players, scouts, coaches to see the potential. Can that guy go out and make plays? And then as they get older, the hope and the excitement after you've realized, yeah, this guy's really got something. We think he can be special. Now it's about reducing the number of mistakes you make, getting 1% better every single day, not making the same mistake twice. And those are obviously cliches, but it's really important. That's how you view an NFL practice. That's how you view your career. That's how you view a season. Is like, all right, if I can just make one less mistake than I made yesterday, I'm going to be a better player. And as you kind of continue to get closer and closer to perfection, pretty soon you become that reliable guy that everybody in the league, everybody in the room has confidence in and believes in and is going to look to you now when things are tough or you're dealing with some adversity within a game or within a season. And it's interesting. And I think the Packers have done a great job drafting for forever and ever because they get those guys in that have talent, and now it's up to those players and those coaches to get a better level of consistency, and it starts with Jordan Love, and it'll trickle down to all those impact players that you mentioned.
So what has been your view of Jordan Love? Because it is a, and Tausch gives me a hard time about this because, he says, I don't want the smoke of criticizing him, and I would disagree. I think I've been measured in my criticism of him, but I also think I've been realistic, right? So he was Rodgers-esque during the second half of 2023. He had a perfect passer rating in that Cowboys game until LaFleur panicked and put him back in. He threw a pass that Tucker Kraft dropped, and that dropped him to a 157.2 passer rating that game. He was for 2 quarters and all but the last pass of the third quarter, which was the first of his 2 interceptions. He was the best quarterback on the field in San Francisco or in Santa Clara, and he had the 49ers on the ropes. And that led to a feeling last offseason of, oh my gosh, look at where these guys are headed. Look where this guy is headed. And then he suffers the knee injury in Brazil. He misses 2 games. He has guys dropping passes. He has a groin injury at midseason. Those things all factor in. But as I've also said, part of playing quarterback in the NFL is figuring out a way to be effective when you're not 100% healthy. And that's part of the learning curve for him. I think he's a good quarterback. Am I going to put money down at Hard Rock Casino Rockford like Jason Wilde did that he's going to win the MVP this year? No. Would I put money down that he's going to win the MVP at some point during his career? I don't think I would, but I wouldn't be floored if he someday did. But I wouldn't put my money on. And so he is in this kind of, hey, we think this guy is good. Is he going to be great? Or is he going to be very good? Or is he always going to be pretty good and then make critical mistakes at critical times? Like his last 5 quarters and 1 play of playoff football, he's thrown 5 interceptions. And so where do you land on him? And where do you see him not only now, but if you're looking into the Joethomas Hall of Fame beef crystal ball, what do you see for him in the future?
That's a highly marbled and tender crystal ball, by the way.
My favorite crystal
Thank
ball.
you. It's the
melts in your mouth.
Melt in your mouth crystal ball that Jesse has never experienced ever before in his life. But I think you mentioned it. It's the lack of confidence that Jordan had down the stretch, which is very common for young quarterbacks, especially somebody who's got receivers that have dropped some passes and maybe dealing with some injuries, some distractions in your own performance, in your own play. And then a lot of times quarterbacks go one way or the other, right? Remember Brett Favre when his back was against the wall, he was injured, maybe some guys dropped some passes. He was just going to sling it because he didn't care about throwing an interception anymore. He didn't care about turnovers, and it worked for him because that was his personality. Jordan Love, a lot more risk averse, right? And so we saw down the second half of that season where he was afraid to throw interceptions. Now, he didn't really throw many until that playoff game against the Eagles, but he wasn't making the plays that he needed to at that position in November and December to be able to lead your team to victory, to have guys trust and believe in you. And I think that's why this Matthew Golden pick, it was huge, right? And it's hard to understate how important that receiver quarterback connection is, but it's especially important for a young quarterback who's had some success, who's done some really good things and shown potential that he could be that MVP guy like you talked about. But it's that consistent ability to overcome adversity and to have that playmaker that you can count on in those moments that you're saying, you know what? He's getting double covered. This is not where the ball is supposed to be thrown in this coverage, but I believe in you. I trust you that you're going to go up and make a play for me, and you're going to bail us and me out in this situation. And I think Matthew Golden is absolutely going to be that guy. So this is a huge training camp for him to get on the same page with Matthew, but also to wipe the slate clean and the idea of I can't throw an interception, I can't make any mistakes that I think he had lingering through the second half of the season and into the playoffs, and just start going out and playing with confidence and believe what your eyes are telling you, believe your arm can make that throw, and start making those throws so that you feel like you got a little swagger going into that season and you're feeling like this is the offense that I can take control of if I'm Jordan Love, and I can lead this team and put them on my back when I need to.
I'll say this. He has looked for, and again, I'm at the far end of the field doing our show, so I've got a bunch of those big old offensive linemen blocking my view of the 11-on-11.
Oh,
right now. But,
scum.
Yeah, they're the worst. They're just, and I mean, my life is filled with them between you and Tauscher and Bulaga. I mean, I just can't shake them. But I will say this. The 11-on-11 plays that I have seen Jordan make, and I got to see all of Sunday's practice from start to finish, and I've been able to see the second half of practices when they're in 11-on-11 the last couple of days, and I will do that again today. He's been pretty sharp. He really has. I mean, the throw he made on Sunday where he had 2 rushers kind of closing in on him, and I know it's not live, but he eluded them, stepped up, made a subtle movement to create some space, and he threw a dart right on the money for a 49-yard touchdown to Dontavion Wicks. That's the Jordan Love we want to see if we're Packers fans, right? That's what Packers fans are eager to see from him. He did have a throw on another day where he didn't see Tyron Hopper, the linebacker, and he put it right between the 5 and the 9 in his jersey, which obviously, as Matt LaFleur said, that was a bad decision. Yeah, but he's done that a few times during his career, right? So again, he's not a young quarterback anymore. This is his 6th NFL season that we're talking about here, but it's his 3rd as a starter, and we'll see if he elevates to the degree that we think he's capable of elevating to this season. And as I always point out, not because we're comparing him, but because I think it shows what can happen when you are fully ingrained in the system and feeling confident. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl in his 3rd season as the starter. He got some help, right? He got some help from Deshaun Jackson with a punt return that allowed them to stay in the playoff hunt. They won their last 2 games to get into the playoffs, and then obviously winning all those games on the road to go win a Super Bowl was a pretty big deal. But Jordan Love doesn't have to take this team to the Super Bowl this year for me to say that he made a big stride forward and you feel a lot better about him as your quarterback moving forward. But he's got to be better than he was last year. And as I always say, what I love about that is that that's not me saying that. That's Jordan Love saying that. And I respect the heck out of him for being wired that way. We need to get to Wonelli. Jesse is probably, I can't see you guys in the video anymore. Did he just take the whole container of Wagyu beef? He's just chowing down in the producer room. He's still the whole thing.
Yeah, Jesse's going to be unavailable for about the next 20 minutes, maybe longer, because he might need a nap after he gets the meat sweats and have an opportunity to just let things digest a little bit because he just couldn't wait any longer. That's that beautiful soliloquy that you went on there. Jesse just said, I need some beef for this.
Yep, sounds good, Jason.
I'm going to need a little bit of that beef here, baby. But I think the point that you made that's really interesting to me, I think the word for Jordan Love for this season is resiliency. How does he show that? Because he's had some great stretches, but then something happens and that adversity strikes and he's just not the same guy. And so how does he overcome those plays like he had in training camp? Like you mentioned, doesn't see the linebacker, throws it right to him. Okay, can you shake it off and go right back to throwing dimes? Or is that going to affect the next play and then the next play and then the rest of practice? So building that resiliency and building the confidence in yourself and in your receivers, I think, is a big step into having that resiliency to overcome the adversity that every season has, no matter who you are.
Or with Joethomas, our cousin sub of the day, cousin subs. We believe in better. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
What's in your summer survival kit? Mark Tauscher here, and I'll tell you what should be. A cooler full of drinks, a comfy lawn chair, and for just $12.99, a large Hut Lovers pizza from Pizza Hut. For a limited time, choose from 4 loaded legends, meat lovers, pepperoni lovers, veggie lovers, and the spicy Hawaiian for just $12.99. Hot, melty, and made to crush hunger. A perfect summer go-to order. Order up before it's gone on the Pizza Hut app. And remember, nobody out-pizzas the Hut. Additional charge for extra toppings, pan, stuffed crust, and extra cheese.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know it's not just a car, it also drives your children's dreams. So whether you're going to soccer practice, robotics club, or opening night in the school play, we help protect those dreams. Save up to 23% when you bundle auto and home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road or visit PellaWI.com today.
The search for luxury begins at Audi Madison. Save $5,500 when you purchase or lease a new 2025 Audi Q7 55. National customer credit is good toward the purchase, finance, or lease of a new Audi, but is only available until July 30th. Why drive something ordinary when you can drive something extraordinary? Stop in and test drive today. Check out AudiMadison.com to see current inventory and specials. Start your adventure at Audi Madison today, off the Beltline and Rimrock Road.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
I'm John Hayes, owner of Goodman's Jewelers. We've been at the heart of many magical moments, from engagements to weddings to sweet 16s. It warms my heart to be a part of these moments for 40 years with people I consider family. With the highest standards and an eye for classic beauty, enjoy a warm boutique setting at Goodman's Jewelers, where integrity shines in every gem. At 220 State Street, Goodman's Jewelers, the Diamond Store, Madison, since 1933.
The best is at Goodman's.
Ever thought about hitting a golf ball in Camp Randall Stadium? Well, now is your chance. On August 1st and 2nd, you can enjoy a VIP experience while hitting tee shots from the upper deck throughout the stadium down to custom greens on the field below. Start and end your round with great music, cold beers, food, and numerous golf challenges. Event is open to all ages, but hurry because tee times will go fast. Go to upperdeckgolf.com to book a tee time today. That's upperdeckgolf.com.
Live the high life at Nitty Gritty, home of the famous Gritty Burger in Madison's official birthday place. Celebrate your birthday at Nitty Gritty and receive a free memento birthday mug to fill with free beers, specialty birthday cocktails, or soda all day long. The Nitty Gritty has celebrated almost 900,000 birthdays, and birthday celebrant number 900,000 will receive a $1,000 Amex gift card. Grab some friends and celebrate your birthday at the Nitty Gritty, located in Madison, Middleton, and Sun Prairie. The Nitty Gritty, a tradition since 1968.
We're on the Packers.
This is an enormous season
because we're on Wisconsin sports.
And it's not just for Jordan Love.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
I'm not afraid of getting old, and I want less day from dying young. I see the light go past my shoulder. I want less day from dying young.
We'll get to Wilde in a second, but as if on cue, exactly what we were talking about with Jordan Love. He gets pressured. Now, Rob Reichel of Conley Media, who was down there watching, told me that Lucas Van Ness probably had a sack on the play, but nevertheless, they're not live, so he eluded Van Ness and made a great, off-platform, off-rhythm throw to the right sideline to Matthew Golden. It's the kind of stuff that he's capable of doing, and one of the things that he's so good at is making those subtle movements in the pocket to create space to make throws. So those are the types of plays that Joe's talking about, that I'm talking about, and if he does that on a consistent basis, I dare say the sky's the limit, Joe.
You should say it, because that's the truth. I mean, we've all seen the talent. We've seen the accuracy, the ability to move in the pocket. I mean, you don't want to compare him to anybody, but, I mean, there's a lot of Aaron Rodgers in his ability and his skill sets. And if he's able to improve that consistency and find it within himself to build enough confidence where he can bounce back after he sees some adversity, the sky is the limit. I mean, I'm not ready to put my money down on the MVP like Jesse and Tausch, but I'm not surprised. I'm 100% in your boat on that.
Because you're reinvesting in Hall of Fame. Time now for Wilde.
If the topic is good, the guys discuss.
Just the other morning I had breakfast at Tracy Rocker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa, Nelly!
On Wilde and Tausch.
All right, Jason, I asked you yesterday, were you going to watch the Brewers game last night? Did you watch the Brewers game?
I did not.
That's disappointing. That's very disappointing.
Self-Frelick's home run, though, on social media. I didn't. In fairness to me, Jesse, I never turned the TV on. I was inundated with work and pet care. Paula and the girls were coming home today. They just got home from Minnesota. So I wanted to make sure I got all my laundry done, all my litter boxes cleaned, all my dishes done, and I'm very particular about how I load the dishwasher as well, as we learned earlier. So I never turn the TV on at all.
All right, well, you missed a fun game. Brewers were down 3-0 after the top of the first inning, outscored the Cubs 8-1 the rest of the way.
Against the Miz?
Against the Miz. Now, the Miz didn't have a bad inning. The umpire at home plate might have been squeezing him a little bit. There was a couple of walks that probably shouldn't have been, a base hit that came after what should have been strike 3. So, it was, maybe not the best.
But he responded to adversity like Jordan Love has to do, according to Joethomas.
Exactly, and that brings me to the tweet that I saw last night from Brad Nortman, yesterday's Cousins Sub of the Day. Clinical game by the Brewers. Sign of a great team. They have their best games against good opponents. Cubs, Dodgers, and so on. That was from Brad last night. I love that tweet because I do think it's different about the Brewers this year compared to past teams. Let me ask the Pro Football Hall of Famer, Joethomas. Now, team success aside, as Jason often likes to say.
Thanks for the reminder.
When you were on some of your best teams in your career, whether that was at Wisconsin, Cleveland, you can even go back to high school if you want to, what does it say when you're able to have your best games against the best competition that's out there?
It means you were ready for the big moments. I always prided myself in being at my best when my best is needed. And I think that's something that a lot of the great coaches have always talked about. When I've been in those rooms with those guys getting the pregame speech, it's like, hey, it's great if we got number 20 through 53 having a great game. They're very important. They're vital. But really, if we want to win big games, we got to have our best players play at their best. And this season, as Jordan Love, we got to see what he's going to do here.
Jason, have you heard this talking about the Packers in recent years?
No, I mean, certainly not last year, right? They were 0-6 when their best was needed. They lost 6 games and didn't win a single one against the 3 teams that finished in the NFC with a better record than them. They went 0-2 against the Eagles to open and close their season with playoff loss. They went 0-2 against the Vikings, and they went 0-2 against the Lions. That's another aspect of this team, and Xavier McKinney was talking about that the other day. Like, hey man, we got to be better when the money's on the table. And if they are that this year, because there's going to be more of those games this year, right? I mean, I don't know what Chicago's going to be. I still don't know exactly what Detroit's going to be. And more importantly, Jordan Love just threw an interception. And I don't know what the Vikings are going to be with their new. And now on the they're 2 spotting, and both quarterbacks threw interceptions within moments of each other.
Great.
I think the one at this end was Sean Clifford. Literally like seconds apart.
Good defense or bad quarterback play from what you could see from miles away?
It's a hard spot to judge. Looked like maybe Jordan's throw could have been caught, maybe even was deflected into an interception. But to your point, and to Joe's point, that he's exactly right. I mean, you hear coaches talk about it all the time. Greatness comes when you deliver your best when your best is needed. And that's another aspect of this team that they're going to have to do it. You're right about the Brewers. They have done great with that. My only apprehension for all my Brewers fan friends that care deeply about that team is that if there's... No, they just threw another. Clifford just threw on successive plays, he threw interceptions. That one to Kalen King, we would turn it for a touchdown.
Cliffy.
I just, the big red dog. I just think that, I'd be worried that there's, after an 11-game winning streak, that there will be some sort of, not market correction, but they're going to have a tough patch. And going back to what Joe was saying earlier, how they respond to that is what's going to decide just how far they go.
Another game tonight, 6:40 first pitch on 620 WTMJ, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 95.3 WBEV in Beaver Dam, and locally on TV, Channel 6 in Milwaukee and WISC TV in Madison. Jason.
Familiar with their work over there.
Yeah,
indeed. All
I got
right.
the Brewers game tonight.
We need to make time for Joethomas to have the last word because we're so lucky to have him as a friend and as a cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe better. We'll wrap things up next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
We're on the Packers.
There's a lot of guys that have shown they've belonged.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
I don't know if they've shown that they have staying power and that they're really, really good.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Mark Tauscher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Bruner Realty, providing excellent real estate and property management services in the Madison area for over 30 years. Contact their team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to get housed today. Wisconsin football getting a blast from the past with J.J. Watt visiting practice. The Badger legend speaking to the locker room during his visit, hyping up this year's squad. Linebacker Daryl Peterson taking the message to heart, motivated to uphold Wisconsin's legacy.
When you think of this place, you think physicality, running the ball, stopping the run. Like that's one of the big things he told us. I think that was one of the things that stuck to me. Like he was like, we were playing guys like we might have lost, but they knew they played us afterwards. That was one of the things that stuck with me, and that's my challenge to our defense now. Let's get these guys living out here in body bag.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella experience. Get 0% interest for up to 5 years if you order by July 31st at PellaWI.com.
Take your game to the next level with Vortex Golf. This employee-owned brand out of Wisconsin brings you premium rangefinders like the Blade, Blade Slope, and the Anarch, packed with features like image stabilization, pin spotter mode, and rock-solid accuracy. Backed by a legendary no-questions-asked VIP lifetime warranty and unmatched customer service, Vortex has you covered. Ready to upgrade your gear? Visit MapleHillGolf.com and search Vortex to see the full lineup. Vortex Golf, you can bet on it.
Zimbrick Honda and ESPN Madison present the Game Changers of the Month, recognizing those in area sports who make a positive impact in their community. Here's Pablo Iglesias with Zimbrick Honda's Game Changers of the Month.
Pablo Iglesias here. Welcome to the ESPN Madison Game Changers of the Month interview, and I'm joined by a special guest, Alec Ingold. With everything that you're doing here, you basically take over Madison for the whole week. You're doing football camps, but you're also doing things beyond that.
We're creating champions beyond the scoreboard. We got a fundraiser out in Tacoma, bringing the community together. We got a financial literacy camp. We call it Money Mini Camp. That's going to be fun. Over at La Follette, plus a little football camp for the kids. Free youth football camp in the Madison area. So, yeah, we're doing it big. We're doing a lot of fun stuff here, and just love to give back to this community so much. Madison's given so much to me with the university and the community, so this is our way of giving back.
Follow ESPN Madison on YouTube and on Facebook for more with the Game Changers of the Month, presented by Zimbrick Honda.
Take your pick. Metro Ford of Madison is bringing the heat this summer. Now through August 4th, get 0% APR financing for 48 months on the 2024 Ford F-150, Escape, Bronco, Expedition, or the 2025 Ford Explorer. $20.83 cost per thousand finance. And yes, you can defer payments for 90 days with approved credit. Hurry. Offer ends August 4th at Metro Ford of Madison. Browse our inventory at MetroFordofMadison.com. That's MetroFordofMadison.com.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Bruss talking about our friends at Road America, America's National Park of Speed. Get out of your house this summer and go to Road America, located conveniently between Green Bay and Milwaukee and Elkhart Lake. Come see a race at the legendary 4-mile, 14-turn road circuit that has hosted some of the best races since 1955. Motul Sports Car Grand Prix featuring IMSA is up next on July 30th through the 1st of August. Camp on site all weekend and enjoy free admission for kids 16 and under with a paying adult at the gate. Come for the experience and stay for the race. Get your tickets at roadamerica.com.
We're on the Badgers.
Team's in a good spot. Culture's in a really good spot.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
And now it's just about, hey, can you get back to that bowl game and hopefully get one or two of those marquee ones.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Wrapping up with Joethomas, our cousin sub of the day, the Pro Football Hall of Famer on Wilde and Tausch. So, Joe, your life, again, I would take yours. You got a great life, and we love you. I am curious. You got any more room in your schedule to spend more time with Tausch and I, or you just got too much going on these days? Because when we first started, we were stealing you for all the time, and today was just such a blessing to have you for 3 hours.
Well, you know how much I love coming on here with you guys and being in studio. It's just great. You know, it's that good, friendly human interaction, brotherhood that you miss a little bit after you leave the locker room and you retire. But the Hall of Fame beef business is just taking up a lot of time, and then 4 rugrats chasing them around and, you know, making sure I unload the dishwasher the right way for Annie every time. It's just, you know, it's taking up a lot of time, but you know what? That just makes these moments even more special and more savored for me. I mean, this is a day that I probably will never forget the rest of my life. Being able to be here with my guy, Jesse.
Come on.
And Jason and no Tausch. So it's been one of the highlights of my media career for sure at this point.
And the best beef in America.
That's right.
Or maybe the world.
Probably
I don't
the world.
know what the tagline
I'll let you choose
is.
for yourself. HallOfFameBeef.com. Order something. Then you can tell me what you think.
Well, thanks for carving out 3 hours for us. We love it when you're here. We look forward to the next time that we are able to fit into your schedule. And the next time Tausch is out, because Lord knows that happens a lot.
I got a desk you can put that tray on out here before you go.
I see the natives are outside about to break down this door here because they want some more of this Wagyu beef. I'm getting nervous. I may have to leave out the back door like a rock star.
There is that back door. It goes right to the bathroom. They'd never even know you were gone. So good luck with that, Joe. That is Joethomas, our cousin sub of the day, the Pro Football Hall of Famer. And that is it for us today. Packers practice rolls on. That's it for the show. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Have a great day. Take care. Be good.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin? Commercial